Powell Browning, Crack 40 TV. We in the house tonight with an interview with your current District 3 magistrate. Allow us to get situated here. Right there it is. I got a good place for that too, Powell.
Well, you got it.
Yeah.
Put it right back there, won't we?
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right there.
Look at there.
Any other candidate, can they see it there?
I think so. If they can't, it's orange and bright.
We'll make them zoom in up there.
Yeah, we'll get it.
They'll come.
They'll know who it is. If they don't know you by now, we're in trouble. And if they don't know me by now, we're both in trouble.
Yeah, you got that right. Their people's probably tripping, wondering what happened. Let me share this to Facebook real quick, guys.
Yes, sir.
It takes about, there's 12 people coming. I'm sharing this to Facebook. Just come on in. Kelly Miller, Tim H, what's up, dog? Tim's good, loyal Crack 40 in. Well, we've got Powell Browning in the house. Y'all run them likes up. He is the current District 3 magistrate, and he is the, he's running for County Judge Executive. We're just going to do this off the computer. You can see it right there. Let's just,
Oh, we got it. Yeah.
there you go.
You see a big, ugly orange and blue sign, that's your boy. There we go.
I didn't think we would be on my phone.
But here we are.
Here we are. Podcast is ready. We just not got it set up yet, so we come on and done it like this. So this is Powell Browning. He's running for County Judge Executive, and I think we'll wait about 30 seconds.
Sure.
Give a few more people time to get in here.
Absolutely.
It takes a minute.
And this is the mayor of the streets of Harlan, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not know Brad Enlow, get to know him. He surprised me. Can I tell you he surprised me? We spent the whole day the other day, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we spent
Yeah.
6-7 hours together.
Yeah.
And of course, we run in a lot of the same circles, sometimes at different times. But we know about everybody. I know about everybody you know, and you know about everybody I know.
Mm-hmm.
Good, bad, and otherwise, right?
That's it.
how it works out. But the old saying, variety is the spice of life. I think we've had enough variety in our life at this point. We've probably had plenty. This,
Yes.
that, and all the above.
There is Coach Justin Curry running the Middlesboro Yellow Jackets.
I don't have any cold pop in here, but I need some. Bring some cold pop, JC.
Yeah, bring us some of that old pop, man. I just wanted to give a few people some time to get in here. Y'all share this to Facebook locally, and we'll get started. Wherever y'all want to get started, wherever Powell wants to get started, we're going to get it popping. This is the interview. What's up, brother? There's my brother in the house. He is single, and he's looking for a woman, and he works. He's a strip miner, so he'll mind you.
He's single and ready to mingle.
There you go.
There we go.
It's Crack 42.
And dating service.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm taking. Brad's taking. We're taking. But find his brother. Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Powell, people will go back and replay this and start from the beginning. That's what we call the replay crew.
Absolutely.
So you just start with who is Powell Browning, and you go from there and you tell what you want to tell. And if I got a question, I'll tell it.
That sounds good. So I'd say probably a good portion of Harlan County knows me in one way or another. Now that could be from, I showed Brad this. That's a list of jobs I've had since I was 16 years old. I've never stopped working. I've always been putting my hand to something, my mind to something. I like being busy. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, and I don't need any of that. So you may know me from any various number of things, but who is Paul Browning? So that can start all the way back in 1968 when I was born. It can go anywhere in the middle. It probably doesn't get real exciting until we start getting into the late 70s, early 80s, I'd say, is kind of when things start hopping. I've just had pretty much a normal childhood up to that point. I can back up just a tad. In 1975, 76, my father was running for sheriff, but we actually lived on a Army base in Fort McClellan, Alabama. So we had a Dodge van, it was cool, orange and yellow, one of those disco type vans, if you want to call it that, from way back in the way back. And we would drive in from Fort McClellan, Alabama. When we got to Bell County, he would...
Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good. When we got to Bell County, we would stop and put on Paul Browning for Sheriff stickers. And we would drive around and campaign. And then when we would drive back to Fort McClellan, Alabama, before we got on base, we'd stop and peel those stickers off. So the first time that he actually ran for sheriff, he didn't win. But that was some early childhood memories of campaigning with him out of a van after we drove all the way in from Alabama. Later on, we moved back shortly after that. He was initially in the Air Force during Vietnam and then wanted to go into military policing. That policing was his life. He enjoyed law enforcement. So he did that with Fort McClellan. He rejoined into the Army to do that. So after the failed first attempt at sheriff, we moved back. He was, a lot of people know my dad from what was known as the CETA program in Southeast Community College. It was kind of folks that were lower income or didn't necessarily have a pathway to college. They would help maneuver some of that. Most everybody had high school diplomas at that time, but if you didn't, they'd help you. It was pre-GED. They'd help you finish up your diploma, get you into college programs, and try to help you on a path to the rest of your life. So a lot of people knew my dad from there, and he also was the assistant warden. A lot of people remember Russell Johnson. He was the warden of the prison camp up on top of Pine Mountain.
Yeah, I've always heard of it.
Yep, and my dad was assistant warden up there. In fact, if you got time for a quick story, and I don't know if we're going to how many quick stories we got.
All the stories you want, by God.
Well, here's one. Here's one that'll shape your life. So, gosh, that was 1977.
Take us back, OG.
78, way back in the Wayback Machine. My dad had, and I don't know where he bought it. I'd love to be able to ask him. He's not here today, but ended up with a little Honda Trail 70. It was almost looked like a mini bike, but it was a motorcycle. It had a clutch and gears and all that. The engine was bad in it. So he knew a gentleman by the name of Joe up at the it was a minimum security prison there on top of Pine Mountain, but he knew him. Fella kind of looked like Elvis, but without teeth. He had his hair slicked back, had the ducktail, had the sideburns, really good guy. So it was during the summer, and I spent probably a little over a week up there. My dad bought the parts, and Joe worked on this motorcycle, fixing this motorcycle. Kind of a lime green, medium green, metallic Honda Trail 70. Love that bike. If I can find another one for a reasonable price, they're about $4,000 now. If you get an original, I ain't got that kind of money, but I'd love to have one just for that sake. But so Joe was up there, and I went up with him every day. I remember driving up Pine Mountain and the clouds. I mean, it looked like an ocean out there. It's beautiful, just how it looked. But I would go up every day with him through the summer there for, like I say, about 2 weeks. And I would help Joe rebuild the engine on this motorcycle, right? And I was amazed. Joe knew everything to do mechanically with this motorcycle. So a week and a half, 2 weeks goes by. We load the motorcycle up in a vehicle, drive it home, taking it home so I could basically just start driving it, right? Start riding it around. My dad took me out to the field over there at the Southeast Community College and taught me how to ride it. But on the way home that day, there's a story that I've never forgotten, and it stuck with me from day one. First day I heard it. He asked me, he said, "You like Joe? You get along with Joe? Is up there to fix your motorcycle?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, he good guy. Seemed to be a good guy." He said, "Yeah." I said, "You like him? Funny?" "Oh, yeah, just everything about him. Just a good guy, right?" He said, "Do you know why Joe's in prison?" I said, "No, Dad." He said, "He killed somebody." Well, when you're 9 years old, probably is what I was that time, somebody says, "You've been hanging out with a murderer all week," that kind of shocks your system. I mean, it's just a shock to your system.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went, and I didn't say a word. And my dad said, "Do you know what?" He said, "Let me tell you what happened." I said, "Okay." He said, "So Joe was a guy that drove a truck down there in Corbin." I said, "Okay." He said he left for work one day and forgot his lunch. So he turned around to come back home. When he came in, his wife was with another man. He said when he walked into the bedroom, he said he walked in the kitchen, hollered for his wife, didn't hear anything, heard some noise in the bedroom, walked into the bedroom, saw them together. The guy jumped up out of bed, Said Joe punched him one time, hit him right in the nose. And you ever heard about the nose bone going into someone's brain and basically killing them almost instantly? That's exactly what happened. So Joe hit this guy that was with his wife, killed him right there on the spot. And I'm just sitting there kind of probably trembling at this point. Again, I'm 9 years old, right? I'm thinking, oh my God. And he said, but you like Joe, seems like a good guy, right? And I said, yeah, Dad. He said, well, I want you to take one lesson away from that. I said, yeah, Dad. He said, there's nothing on this planet worth getting angry over. Don't let your emotions control you. He said Joe would still be doing whatever Joe did prior to being in prison if he had just been able to control his anger.
Big facts. Yeah.
So that stuck in my head. I'm a pretty calm, cool guy. If you meet me out, I prefer to laugh than cry because crying don't look good on a guy my age. So you'll hear me laughing more than anything else. But that was one of the early memories when we moved back here. Later on, he ran for sheriff again. And in 80, I guess it was, right in there, he won. I remember another quick story. We were walking up a holler in Coxton. If you go across the Coxton Bridge, you go forward. Don't hit Albert Lane or any of that, but just keep going straight. I was walking with him up Coxton Hollow. And we got about halfway up the hill. I hear a gunshot. Now, you know, you're a little kid, you hear a gunshot. I mean, it sounded like it was just right there. So it freaked me out. And I kind of grabbed my dad's arm and I said, Dad, they're shooting. He said, no, son. He said, people here, he said, if they were shooting at us, we'd already be shot. And I was like, yeah, okay. So we kept walking up the hill. We came around and sure enough, they had shot a hog. And by the time we got up there, they were pulling it up in a tree. They had its front legs or whatever up in a bound up and pulling it up a tree on a pulley. And got it up there. They put a big wash tub under it. The guy got a hawkbill knife and just did that. And all the guts fell out, heart still beating, all the stuff. I mean, it's pretty traumatic for a young fella to try to, but my dad, true to form, he didn't miss a beat. He's asking them for their vote, asking them who their brother was, their cousin was, their uncle was, and said he'd worked with one of them and absolutely needed their vote. And so when I tell people that I've kind of been in this since 1975, they think, well, you were born in 68. I've been in this since 1975. I've been asking for votes my whole life as it is. Of course, he won at that time, and I was young. Some people may remember this. I was able to come down to the courthouse and basically what is that, Slinging Ink? Is that the tattoo place there now?
Yeah.
Fruit Loop, I know him, Tim Price. But basically,
shout out Tim.
Shout out Tim, good fella. Worked with him at Liggett. But basically in the upper corner of that, heading towards the intersection, there was an arcade in there. Way, way, way back. And when I say way back, Centipede, Asteroids, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, that's the stuff that was going on then. Way back machine. Put a quarter in and play all day, right? So I would come down with my dad and hang out at the courthouse, and he would give me some quarters. I'd go over there at the arcade, play arcade games, come back over. So I've kind of been in and out of that courthouse kind of my whole life initially at that point, and wasn't long after that I was in 7th grade. Another, if you want to call it about a core memory, who makes Paul Browning, right? Why is Paul Browning the way I am? This is part of that. In 7th grade, we had taken a field trip. I was at Benham School. We took you to the end the other day. I told you I went to school there 7th and 8th grade. 7th grade, I was there. We went on a field trip. I think it was to Oak Ridge, kind of like a school field trip. Went down to Oak Ridge to see how it all worked. We went with the high school, I believe, the Cumberland High School, or a group from Cumberland High School. And I remember as we were pulling back up into Benham, the buses at that time, I don't know if they still do or not, but they had radios on. You know, you could listen to AM, FM radio. And I imagine it was probably WCPM that was in Cumberland, or we may have been picking up HLN, or I don't know at that point. But there was a teacher that just had the radio on, and I remember her, as we were pulling right up in front of the school, she gasped like this. And she turned around and immediately looked at me. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, okay, you just gasped and you're looking at me. And some of the kids that were more up front, I was middle ways back in the bus, some of the kids that were more up front just kind of turned around and looked at me, and I didn't know. Well, she turned up the radio, and again, you can take this however you want it, but the facts that my father was shot are the facts. They removed bullets from him. Now, his word was that they were trying to take him out. He had been sniped coming from Cumberland towards Harlan. that somewhere around Layden Trail, someone was up on the trail, could see the new road, and shot at him. Shot through it. He had a Camaro Z28 as a police car, kind of undercover.
Wow.
Shot through the window and shot him. So that was coming across as a live news report. Now, I'm a kid in 7th grade. I just went on a field trip. I was just trying to have a good time, right? Just that kind of thing. I pull up, and everybody on that bus, including the teachers and bus drivers, were just completely freaked out and trying to console me, and I'm just trying to be a normal kid. I'm just trying to be a normal kid, right? So I'm dealing with that. Not long after that, and I won't dive as deep into this maybe as some people would want to, but there's reasons to everything. Let's say that. There's reasons to everything. And it wasn't long after that that they'd brought up, I believe it was 36 charges against my father while he was sheriff. Just a full scale of charges. 2 of them being conspiracy to commit murder, 1st degree. And they'd had some undercover state police in here doing an investigation, the whole 9 yards. Again, as I stated in my Facebook post, there's newspaper articles, there's court documents. You can look at all that. It's all public record. Do whatever you want with that. Believe whatever you want. I'm not here to defend my father. I'm not here to put my father down. I'm here to just simply give you my life. How it was in my world. You know, not his world, not anybody else's world. How was it in Paul Brandon III's life, right? I mean, that's how we're sorting this out.
Yeah.
What makes me who I am today. You know. So I went from being the cool kid at the courthouse, playing at the arcade, doing stuff like that, and everybody. I was probably I guess my father, I think, maybe still to this day, was the youngest elected sheriff in the state of Kentucky. I mean, he was 30 something when he was elected. I was way young. Most of the people in the courthouse, even today, are older. But shout out Ashley Powell, shout out Chris Brewer. They're younger now, so good job on that.
Oh, walking tile.
That's right, getting some new folks in there.
And Ashley's like walking tile.
Oh, she is too. She handles business.
She
over there,
runs,
brother.
yeah. Oh,
She's
yeah.
got it. We've got a good group in that courthouse.
Right
no
there.
issues.
Yeah.
But at that time, my dad was certainly the youngest county official in Harlan County, and I feel certain I was the youngest child. And they may have had grandchildren in there or whatever, but I was kind of the pet of the courthouse. That, does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't ask for it. That's just how it worked out.
In a way, a protege, maybe.
There you go, right? So I went from that to not too many months later, my father's arrested, put in jail, on trial. You go from being the cool kid at school and the cool kid at the courthouse and the cool kid to zero. Hero to zero. Or just cool kid. I mean, I didn't understand what was going on. I'm 12, 13 years old. This is my preteen life, right? I mean, I have no idea. I'm born in 68. This is 80, 81. I'm 12, 13 years old. I don't really understand what's going on. I can't put, Law and Order wasn't on TV then. Perry Mason was the closest thing I'd ever watched to any kind of court proceedings, and that's black and white. So
yeah.
I had no idea what was going on. This was something that intersected my life. It was nothing I asked for. It was nothing that I wanted to accept or deal with. It just like a car wreck. I mean, a T-bone. It just T-boned my life.
So how bad did it hurt your dad?
Well, obviously, and we didn't really. I mean, the strangest thing was, and I guess this happens with everybody. So I had a pretty rough life after that happened, and here's the reason behind it. Now, I'm gonna give you 2 sides of this. So there were 2 gentlemen in question that he was charged with conspiracy to commit murder on. One of them was a magistrate down in District 5, Mr. Lige Buell. I happen to know, I never knew old Lige, but I knew young Lige at the college. So it was his father. And the other one was a gentleman by the name of Johnny Blanton, who was in Cumberland. Now, he was a school board member in Cumberland, millionaire, had invented, if you've ever used a dust hog bit in a mining situation, he and Freddie Maggart's father invented that. The way that you cut that in half, and when you're drilling up in there, it pulls the dust down. They have hollow drill steel that pulls the dust down instead of dumping it on your face. It was like a vacuum system. Great invention. Got paid a whole lot of money from Kennametal to gain the rights to that or the patent to that, right? So he was fine with money. Had good kids, John Jr., Mark, Bitha, Kat, everybody. Good family. But he was also that guy that always took care of the football team, the baseball team, the basketball team. In fact, Again, in 7th grade, we went down to watch a UK football game, took a bus down there. He paid for the whole thing. Really neat. I mean, very generous man, but he was very generous with all of these sports figures. Well, guess what happens when you happen to roll into high school and there's a whole bunch of jocks, baseball, football, basketball, all that, and your dad's the one that actually was trying to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, Mr. Johnny Blanton. I mean, that was what was out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't like me very much.
So you went from the cool kid to the like.
To get my ass beat and getting threatened and getting a whole lot of stuff.
Now, what school was this?
This
at?
was Cumberland High School when I first went into high school.
Because I went to a million schools.
I went to every school. Lynch Christian Academy, Benham, Cumberland, Southeast. I've been to every school in District 3, basically. Everything but Tots. Tots was open. I didn't make it to Tots. I was never a Condor. That was the only one I missed in my whole district. But so it was tough. High school was tough. And I think I stated this if you watched my Facebook post or read my Facebook post. And let me, two things. Let me back up. I would have never made that Facebook post. The gentleman that made a post that caused me to respond to that post said my father had went to prison for embezzling money, and that was the money I was running my campaign on now. So I'm gonna have my dad embezzled money, and 45 years later, 50 years later, I'm going, dude, come on. I would have never had a Facebook post had he said my father had been convicted of 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. I'd have kept swiping. We'd have never had the first issue, Brad. Never. But if you're putting something out there that's untrue, then I'm gonna respond to it. I mean, I just want to set the record straight. I wasn't defending my father. Facts are facts. Here's what happened. Now, you can go anywhere you want to go with that. And I've talked to a whole lot of people in Harlan County said that was a setup, and a whole lot of them said he absolutely did it, right? And that's their opinion. I'm not here to defend my father any more than most people didn't know my dad, obviously, the way I knew my dad, right?
Correct.
So I mean, that's just facts. I'm going to defend my father, but I can't defend every action that he took. I can't defend some of the things that happened because, hell, I was a kid. How can I can't defend that. You can't defend things that happened when you were 11 years old and 12 years old. How the hell can you defend that? I mean, that can't be defended.
I can't defend what my mom did
No,
when I was 12.
Right, there's no way to do that. So all I was trying to do was really just set the record straight. That was but if you get on there, you'll see that, during high school, I had a tough time. It was not a rosy ride. It was not a happy place for me. And at one point I had a gun in my mouth. I mean, I was done. I was done. It was going to be the end of time.
Whoa.
So I probably need to shout out to a very beautiful brunette young lady that I had not asked out. And I sat there with a gun in my mouth, Brad, and I said, you know what? I never asked her out. I should probably, at least before I take myself out, go ask her out. Thank you for saying yes, you'd go out with me. You saved my life. I appreciate that. So that changed the direction of my life a lot. It gave me something to be happy about and something to kind of look forward to. No matter what was going on at school, I could have a conversation with her on the phone or whatever. So that was great. But high school wasn't a great time. But the funniest thing is about that. My first job in high school, I'd worked Hardee's here in Harlan. Used to be Shepherd's Auto Sales right beside it, where DNR Auto Sales is now. Used to be Shepherd's Auto Sales.
Is that red wine?
Yeah, well, Red Wine and Duff are now, DNR. Used to be Shepherd's. Jimmy Shepherd and his brother had it. They were in Cumberland and they moved down there when that area opened up. So Jimmy knew my father. My father asked him if I could come down and wash cars. My father religiously, every Saturday, before I could go out, before I could do anything, we shined every shoe in the house and we washed every car in the driveway. It didn't matter if it was minus 90 or 190. Every shoe got shined, every car got washed. So he knew I could wash a car. He told Jimmy, he said, he can do a good job for you if you've got a job for him. So I would leave at 17, I would leave one period early in class, drive to Harlan, and wash cars for Shepherds out there. My car ended up, also that's when I met the lovely, talented, oh so beautiful, drop dead gorgeous Miss Darla Saylor at that time. The love of my life, hanging around 33 years later. Shout out Darla for putting up with me.
Shout out Darla.
That's right.
Shout out Darla.
But I went to her house one night and my car broke down. Her dad and her gave me a ride home and my father fashioned himself to be a carpenter, and I think he was really more of a destructor than a builder. And my house looked like a mess. Her house was beautiful. And I got, the closer we got to the house, the more I sunk down. And I just felt like once she saw my house and where I lived, that it would be over anyway. My car was torn up. My mom said, you can't call, don't date anybody long distance. I'm not paying that long distance phone charge. Y'all don't know that, young kids.
Yeah.
You can call Pango on your phone now, no charge. But at that time, if you called past Tots, it was like 5 cents a minute. So my mom said, I'm not paying that. So I kind of just disappeared. I went down the next day, got my car, and disappeared out of Darla's life. But my next job, the next job that I had was working for the gentleman that supposedly my father was going to kill, Johnny Blanton. I worked at JYB Dust Hog Bits there in Cumberland. Step Fitness is in that building now. I worked there making mining bits and drill steel while I was still in high school. So I think if you want to say that maybe there was things said that weren't 100% true, I don't know how you can go to prison for conspiracy to commit murder against a gentleman and then just a few years later go to work for him.
Big facts.
That's an odd deal. But to this day, Big John, Dooner as they call him, John Jr., and John the Third, Josh, Bitha, who's Albie Brock's wife there, judge in Bell County, Mark, the whole family. I love them. I mean, I just consider them the same as my family, every one of them. So I wanted to straighten that up from the Facebook post. It made it look like maybe we didn't get along or whatever the situation was. But
I don't even know which Facebook post you're talking about. Actually.
I probably should have showed that to you, but I was just basically defending that someone had said my dad embezzled money.
I'm sure
when
that
that wasn't
Coach
an
Curry
issue.
knows about it.
Yeah, I had a lot of response to that, and it was not to really elicit a lot of response. It was more to just clean a situation up. That was the whole reason for the post. Someone had put out false information, and I wanted to put out the actual information. And again, I could have come up with anything, right?
Yeah.
But no, I came out with the truth. My father was convicted of 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. He went to jail. He had a retrial, didn't work, was in prison. I mean, that's how it was. And I had a lot of animosity towards my dad because my life went from being a pretty good life to a really, pardon my French, a really shitty existence on this planet. And I blame my dad for that for years and years and years, and our relationship just wasn't much. For years.
So where did he go to prison at? Where did he?
Oh, he was everywhere. I mean, they didn't put. He was no.
So it was federal.
State.
I'm assuming.
No, it was state. LaGrange. They put him in every spot. No protective custody, even though he was a sheriff. No protective custody. Gin pop. Thank God he was a 5th-degree black belt. He had to use it every day in prison.
I bet.
They basically sent him to prison to die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can say that. I can say that with all frankness. I mean, there's not another police officer. I worked at Red Onion State Prison just before becoming a magistrate. If you were a prison guard or a police officer and you'd gotten in some trouble, you were in D block, which was a protective custody block. And they had you separate from everybody else, and you were around other police officers or prison guards or people of that situation. No, my dad was sent general population, LaGrange, all of it. Blackburn, I mean, he was at every one of them.
And that was back when it was like...
When it was wide open.
Yeah, like what's that movie with the Mexicans? Well, anyway, 80s prison.
Yeah, you'll think about it.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't pull the name of it. But yeah, it was
Blood in, blood out.
Blood in, blood out.
Yeah, so I could imagine. And
Yeah,
plus,
it was not a good time.
So what's your memories of the old jail? Not the one they just tore down, the one in the old courthouse.
The old courthouse,
They
I
shut it down in
don't
82.
remember it as much. I know it was up in the very top floor, and then they built my dad always called it the Hilton, which was next door to it there or whatever. The Hilton was there, and I knew a little bit about it. I guess that was being constructed, or plans for that were kind of going into effect. I used to make fun of a fellow that he lived next door to that, but he would park by the jail, and I'd always tell his girlfriend, your boyfriend's in jail again. I saw his car down there. It caused a lot of issue, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so that kind of got me, right after high school, my dad just couldn't find work. I mean, that almost seems obvious in this county,
And
right?
you
I mean, it'd be tough.
Graduated in 84, 85.
87, and then went over to
Okay.
Southeast for a little bit. Started in my college career, and honestly, we were just pretty much starving to death. My mom was working, but my dad couldn't find a job. We worked a little bit at Johnny Blanton's, but he had fallen on tough times too. He had gone from being a millionaire to having some issues financially as well. And so it was tough to, I mean, we didn't have the heat at the house a lot of times. We didn't, I'm not a silver spoon baby. If you think I am, you're sadly mistaken.
No trust fund, baby.
Yeah, no trust fund baby, no silver spoon. I didn't even have plastic spoons several times. But so in that situation, we decided, I had an uncle that lived in Cincinnati. They decided, my parents decided it was best to move to Cincinnati at that time. Again, I was basically 18. So it was almost a forced move up there. We lived up there a while. I had some jobs up there, worked Kelly Temp Services, worked for an auto parts store. I worked with my uncle at a machining, basically a factory that made different parts and pieces, machine shop. And started selling cars. I always wanted to sell cars, was able to sell cars up there at that time.
I could see that.
Yeah, shocker.
I could see this.
Slinging steel, as they say.
Yeah.
In fact, I ended up, during that time, it was just a Pontiac dealership, and 950 West 8th Street, Cincinnati, the only minority-owned dealership in the 275 loop. Mr. Desmond Roberts, he was originally from the Virgin Islands and moved to New York, and eventually ended up in Cleveland as a banker, and had a very strange accent when he talked, like this, Bud. Always said Bud at the end of everything, Bud. And a good guy. But he took a chance on me, let me sell some cars up there, and that was an interesting experience. And he wanted to take on a GMC truck franchise. And he asked anybody in there that was working, he said, does anybody here have knowledge of trucks? Well, guess what? I'm from Southeast Kentucky. I grew up basically my year 17 and 18 of my life. I spent a lot of it at Creech Chevrolet when they were in Cumberland. Shout out Creech Chevrolet, Creech Automotive, Eric DeWitt, Joe Wayne. All those folks took me in like I was their own. I probably ate more meals at their house than I did my own there for about 18 months. So I knew about trucks. I knew how to order trucks. I was there with Joe Wayne when he would order them at night and put the orders together. So I raised my hand and I said, yes, sir, I do. And he said, well, what do you know, Bud? I said, well, I know everything, right? I know about trucks. And he understood where I was from, Southeast Kentucky. So I actually ended up becoming the youngest GMC truck manager in Ohio. They always thought, well, who's your dad or who's your grandpa? I'm like, no, I'm the truck manager. That was interesting. Went up to Columbus, Dayton, to some different meetings, and that always confused me. Well, who's your dad? No, I'm the truck manager. That kind of cooked them. Came back, went back to school for a while, went back up to Cincinnati again. Came back and went back to school for a while, ran out of money, went back to Cincinnati the third time, and I kind of made my mind up as I was nearing age 30 at that point. Brad, as I was nearing age 30, I made my mind up that I wanted to start a family. And although I had good friends in Cincinnati, I hung out with the guy, his father-in-law was the president of Delta Airlines. I ran around with a guy that invented the magnetic tape that was used on every space shuttle mission. I ran around with some great people up there. I mean, they were good people. It's kind of a strange life to talk about, but ran around with some great people up there. And although I like them and I like the area fine, I can make the best Cincinnati chili you've ever put in your mouth. I know we got crack 40 chili. Next will be coming Judge Executive chili, hopefully in another year from now. We'll bring the Cincinnati chili to downtown Harlan. Although there used to be a Cincinnati chili place there.
I
You remember that way back?
Yeah.
Right, as you came out of the courthouse, if you walked straight, you ran into
Jewel
it.
Craft.
Nobody remembers that place.
I know because I was in a
High five, brother. That's
Listen,
forever ago.
I was in a high chair. Some of my people's heard me tell this story. I'm in a high chair, but I can remember this. And a girl spills hot chili on my head in there.
Well, then you got that memory burnt in, literally, right?
Yeah, that's actual factual.
You and me may be the only two people that remember that place, but it was
People
there.
don't remember.
It was a chili parlor, as they say. Same thing in Cincinnati, a chili parlor. But we'll be bringing the Cincinnati style chili back to a restaurant near you soon. I've got a great recipe. Ask my daughter. But I decided, I made up my mind. I said, I want to start a family. I want to settle down, start a family, and I don't want to do that in Cincinnati. This is the place I want to do it. And the last time I was in Cincinnati, just prior to moving up there, a gentleman I had met, Mr. Sean Cornett. Shout out, Sean, if you're watching, or Margaret, his wife, if you happen to be on here. Thank you so much, sir. He had all the knowledge of construction and carpentry, and I had the mouth. Again, shocker, right? So I was out getting the jobs, and then he and I would do the jobs. We built a house up the river and did a lot of work here. But about that time, the mines had a big layoff. And no disrespect, but when you have a layoff, every coal miner becomes a carpenter. That's just, you got to make a living, right? You got to put your hands to something. You got to feed your family. So some of the things that we had priced at this amount, someone would come in, if they're getting unemployment, they would price it at this amount. So he and I went to Cincinnati. We rebuilt, we did a lot of work up there, made good money up there. Car lot, we redid a car lot, did several things. And again, made good money, but I decided that was not the place for me and I wanted to start a family. We came back and it wasn't long after that, I started a car lot there in Cumberland. If you've ever pulled to the pole, if you've ever been to Hardee's in Cumberland, they say pull to the pole. When you pull to the pole and look straight ahead, that's where the car lot was. Mr. Coy Taylor, great gentleman, took a chance on me, allowed me to rent. He had a car lot there forever, allowed me to rent that. And I was going back and forth to Cincinnati, buying cars, bringing them down there, buy here, pay here type lot, just working however I could and trying to put food in my face, right?
Getting it out the mud.
And trying to do all I could. And at that time I met, and now my former wife, met her and we dated. She said, and again, another shocker, we went out a few times and she said, "You're just too much for me. You're just too much." She said, "I don't think this will work. You're just too much." And I said, "Well, I appreciate your honesty. I probably am too much." Yeah, I'd say you're right. We went our separate ways for a few months, and I had a gentleman in there that detailed cars, and she called me up one Saturday and said, "I want my car detailed." I said, "Well, I'll let you talk to that fella." She said, "I don't want to talk to you. I want you to come down and get my car." I said, "We ain't dating. I ain't come get your car. Bring your car up here. He can give you a ride back." And back and forth, we ended up talking a little more. One thing led to another. We ended up married, son on the way, and he was born at 26 weeks. He was way premature. I could put his head in the middle of my hand here and his butt in the middle of my hand here and almost touch my hands. That's how small he was.
Wow.
So we spent a lot of time at the NICU there in Lexington. He was under 2 pounds when he was born. And we spent, so he was born October 16th. We didn't come home till just before Christmas.
And what year is this?
1998.
Okay.
1998.
So I'm a junior in high school.
There you go.
Okay.
1998.
Curry is, Coach Curry would be a 7th grader, 8th grader.
He's too young.
He would have been 8th
He's
grader.
too young. He's probably still drinking cold pop that time, though. So,
Sneaking in class like
that's
that,
right.
like certain teachers did liquor, my God.
there you go. I knew some of them too. But so that was definitely a point in my life when my son was born that everything kind of just came right to a, there's a defining moment in your life when you have a son and he's under 2 pounds and you don't know if he's going to make it or not, day to day. I mean, minute to minute at times. It changes you. It changes your mind. You have a whole different outlook in life. I had a whole different outlook when I basically was going to take my own life. That changes a person. And then when I felt like that his living or dying was completely out of my control, I had no choice on that. That was just whatever the big man upstairs wanted to do, and that was it. I mean, there was no choice. I'm not a surgeon. I couldn't do anything to affect that in a positive way. I just had to take whatever was coming my way, right? Mm-hmm. That affects a man, changes you. It develops a different mindset. And I'm saying, certainly I'm blessed. He Governor's Cup winner, 6th grade, top of his class at EKU. Great, no issues at all. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate it. Thank you. But that really, that time I had my car lot in Cumberland, and I'd moved it. I think that's when you first met me at Suki Ridge. I moved my car lot to Suki Ridge, went in with a couple fellas up there as partners. And I think that's when we first met. Mm-hmm. Shout out Jones twins.
Jeremy Jones.
That's right.
Josh Shanks is how I met
There you
this
go.
guy.
There you go. That
Back
sounds
in
exactly
99,
right.
2000.
And
area.
WOT racing just over the hill at that time before he came. Mike Saylor. Shout out Mike Saylor.
Shout out Mike, old Mustang guy.
Absolutely.
WOT racing.
Yeah, man.
Open throttle.
Way back. Why are you back in the way back machine?
Yeah.
And
Good
it just
days.
it started
Good
kind of
days.
taking a lot of time going back and forth to Cincinnati, the auctions, different things like that, and my son was having issues, just trying to sort out life. I mean, everybody has to sort out life. So I decided that wasn't the path I wanted to keep going on, and I basically went to my house and just kind of prayed and sat and thought and tried to figure it out. My wife was working at the clinic, Daniel Boone Clinic in Harlan. And they had just started in on a project of rebuilding the whole hospital on the other side there. And one of the guys, I think the job foreman there, Tim Boykin from Georgia, had come over to get something treated just before she worked in peds. Something went wrong with his arm or his leg. I can only remember what the situation was. Well, she just asked him, said, "You all hiring anybody?" He said, "Well, the right people." She said, "Well, I got a husband. He knows, carpentry. He knows that stuff. He's a good guy." And he said, "Well, yeah, have him come down and put in an application." So I go down, ask him what they were hiring. He said general labor. I said, all right. I put general labor on my form, turned it in. Lo and behold, they hired me. Out there, about as cold as it is right now, about this time of year, we're carrying plywood around, just doing general stuff, trying to get everything ready to get started. And it was funny. He asked me, he said, "I'm gonna have to build a garbage chute to go down to this dumpster." He said, "Man, I don't want to get out in that cold weather." He was from Georgia. And I said, "Well, Tim, I can do that." He said, "You can do that?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." He said, "Well, show me what you can do." So I went out and me and a couple guys, we built I know it sounds crazy, but we built a trash chute to go into this dumpster. So about an hour later, I came back in. I said, "You want to take a look at that?" He said, "You done?" I said, "Yeah." He went out. He said, "Well, why didn't you apply as a carpenter?" I said, "Were you hiring carpenters?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, then that's why I didn't apply. I needed the job. I didn't need a title, big guy. I just needed to feed my family, right?" Mm-hmm. But it worked out real well. I worked with them for a pretty good amount of time. Now, the part I'm skipping a little bit is my son was born in '98, premature. I'm an only child, so I'm the only child that my mom and dad had. And this was the only grandchild they had at the time, right? So with all the issues we were dealing with, my wife having to go back to work, me trying to feed our family as well, they decided, they lived in Cincinnati still at the time, they decided they wanted to move back. So they found a place in Cumberland near our home so that they could help us basically raise their grandchild or raise our child. Just an absolute, my mother RN for 30 years, so any medical stuff wasn't going to fool her. And my dad, obviously, I think he would have sacrificed his life for my sons at any time and still would if he were living. So they came back at that time. Well, as I'm running around with my dad, just doing general stuff, going to Walmart or going to the dollar store or going out to eat, everybody came up to him and said, "Hey, Sheriff," right? They still greeted him as Sheriff. Mm. And I kind of thought that, honestly, truthfully, it almost made me mad because I dealt with the really bad side. I'm not saying he didn't deal with the bad side of it being in prison, don't get me wrong, but as a child, I had nothing to do with this. And so when they're calling him Sheriff, I'm kind of like, I wish you'd just shut the hell up, be honest with you. Just shut the hell up, right? So one thing after another, and he actually researched. Now, even though he was a convicted felon, you could run for sheriff. You just couldn't carry a gun. Well, a lot of people have told me, and I've had a lot of stories about my father. He's a 5th-degree black belt. I never backtalk. Not one time did I backtalk in my house because it would have been a bad day. 5th-degree black belt, right? So he didn't need a gun. I promise you, he needed no gun to do anything he needed to do on this planet. So once he researched and he said, "Well, hell, I can technically run." And he talked to some people. They encouraged him. I won't say I encouraged him, but he's going to do what he's going to do. So lo and behold, he signed up to run for sheriff. I'm working out at the hospital, just trying to put in my 40 hours, get a payday, keep the car payments paid and the gas in the car and lights on at the house, just doing my normal life. And I actually asked him, I said, because I was concerned about all this. I said, "Do you want me to quit my job and just go with you? Do you want me to not necessarily be a bodyguard?" Hell, he didn't need me. He's more of a bodyguard than I could ever be. "But do you want me to just stay with you, whatever?" And he said, "No." He said, "It's better if you just stay working." He said, "I don't want people to think that I'm trying to get this job just so you could have a job." He said, "You just stay working." He said, you don't really love law enforcement anyway." And I said, "Well, I can't argue with that." So he was doing his thing. Again, there's newspaper articles, there's interviews, there's everything on the planet about that time in my life. But let's just say, to kind of get to maybe people's curiosity, he was running for sheriff, and he was running for sheriff broke as a joke. Didn't have 2 dimes to rub together to try to buy signs or do anything. He met a gentleman that said he needed to talk to another gentleman who said he was in cahoots with another gentleman. And I'll just try to make this as PG as possible. He talked to this person, talked to that person, and talked to that person. And I'm certain in my father's mind, everything was supposed to go this way. But what actually happened was everything went that way. My father was an avid reader. I'm not an avid reader. He was an avid reader, read every book. I mean, we had books on top of books on tops of books. And I really feel like I explained this to one person one time that my father, I think he felt like he was writing his book because he obviously knew every book. So I felt like he was writing his book. But here's what happens in the world, Mayor, and it's happened in my life, and I'm sure it's happened in yours. You can be writing your own book, but if you turn your head for a second, somebody else can grab that pen and they can write in your book.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what happened is he set his pen down for a minute, and a whole lot of other people just started writing chapter after chapter in his book, and things just went sideways. I don't watch Kentucky ball games to this day because he was supposed to be home to. He loved Kentucky basketball. We had a big pot of chili going. He was supposed to come home after campaigning and eat some chili and watch a Kentucky ball game, and he never made it home.
Yeah, I remember that being in the articles and about him missing.
Yeah.
I do remember
And
that.
they found him basically 24 hours later, his body in his truck, both on fire. There, what is that? Is that 10-yard hill? Kind of
Yeah.
as you get there to the top of 10-yard hill and you cut left, go back out there just a little bit.
Straight.
Yeah.
Something.
So that kind of, well, I don't really have adequate words for that. I don't know how to describe that to you. I hope you've never had to deal with that in your entire life. I just started really having a good relationship with my father since he had moved back that last little bit of time, and had given him full forgiveness, understood as a grown man how things happen and they're out of your control sometimes, even if you don't make the best decisions. Sometimes things just aren't. At this point, so I had my son at 30. So 30, 31, right in there, which is, I'm 57 now, so
this
40,
was
50, this is still 27 years ago, almost half a life ago.
February,
Yeah. And I
remember.
was, so in, I was born in 68, and I was, November, end of November is when my birthday is. So yeah, this was in February. I don't know how to describe that to you all. I hope you never have to deal with anything like that. I hope and pray you never have to deal with anything like that as long as you live.
Yeah, no joke.
And there were trials, there were different things that went on. There was a whole lot of they didn't know and couldn't understand and couldn't figure out and couldn't get to the point. And I'm not saying I'm a detective. I don't consider myself Columbo or anything else, but I gave them all the information I had, and eventually there was kind of I guess we'll say a break in the case, and it started them down the road of really doing an investigation, and some of the people that absolutely were responsible ended up going to trial, and some of the people that I felt like were responsible never quite made it into the courtroom, and that's, again, everything. I'm gonna stop for 1 second. You've heard a pretty tragic upbringing sprinkled in with some good stuff. And I think I told this to you, Brad, the other day when we were riding around. Everything, every single thing on this planet, good, bad, or otherwise, has purpose. It happens for a reason, just as it's supposed to, just when it's supposed to, and just the way it's supposed to. And there's really very, very little you can do about it. So you have to take all the things, good, bad, or otherwise, and you have to just bring them in and sort out, try to take the bad out, try to take the otherwise out, focus on the good, and move forward. But everything has purpose. Everything has purpose. Now, can I say, oh, my father being in prison had purpose? Can I say my father being murdered had purpose? That's tough. That's tough to think about. But the reality is, if I don't look at life that way, then I've got to go out and try to kill a bunch of people, or I've got to try to get revenge, or I've got to try to do it. You're right. You can't live that way.
No.
You have to take whatever's happened to you, sort out the good, put the rest to the side, and go forward. And that's basically how I get through day to day. Every day of my life, that's how I get through. I wake up every day, I'm grateful. I give thanks to the big man above, and I go through the day. And if it's a great day, it's a great day. And if it's not a great day, I'm still thankful. I'm thankful that I learned a lesson in that day, right? So
Regroup for tomorrow.
exactly. So everything that happened, good, bad, or otherwise, and there's a lot of bad we've talked about here, has purpose. Now, is that purpose that I'm to be the next county judge executive? That's up to you. That's up to him and you. That's not up to me. But I can tell you there's not going to be a situation in that office that I'm going to face ever that's going to be any more traumatic than having your father found murdered and burnt, or as a young kid having your father go to prison, or having to deal with the press and the people and all the, there's no pressure in that job compared to the pressure I've dealt with in my life. I guarantee you, there's none of that. In fact, I dare, there's probably not going to be any other candidates that are going to come on here live and take any question you've got and answer anything you want to ask me. You know why? I'm not concerned with pressure. I'm not concerned with decisions. I've had to make some really tough, I had to pull a gun out of my mouth. You don't make any bigger decision than that in your life. So all those things shape you into what you are and how you are and your actions going through life. A lot of people know me as a funny guy and cracking jokes and being funny, but there's a serious side to me. I think Brad saw both sides the other day when we were riding around. And I do prefer to be funny. I would prefer to make a joke than to make you cry. I would prefer to make you laugh than make you sad, right? I mean, that's just, that's how I've maneuvered through life. And that's okay. I mean, I've not found anything wrong with it yet. Some people don't take me seriously, but I guarantee you I'm a very serious person that has had to deal with some very serious things in my life. And I'd actually planned on running for magistrate when my father decided that he was going to run for sheriff. But obviously he ran for sheriff. I wasn't going to try to run for magistrate at the same time. And then everything really kind of got unhinged from there. I mean, so we dealt with several years of just having to deal with that and trials and going through all that. And honestly, politics was probably the furthest thing from my mind. But later on, I actually ran against Mr. Kennedy the first time that he won and lost miserably. And that's okay too. You learn more by losing than winning sometimes. And then waited, took a job. I was with Justice Mining, Sequoia Energy, Infinity, 4-Star. Took a job with them, started out picking up trash, ended up being a purchasing agent. Dealt with eventually 13 operations in 5 different states. So the budget that we have at the Harlan County Courthouse, yearly budget, I dealt with about every 45 to 60 days. And I was responsible for every penny. So dollars and working out budgets and projections, and that's I've done that. That's what I did for a living. So there's no issues with that either. But that was a good paying job. Made sure my family ate well a lot of time. Those were 16 and 18 hour days sometimes. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's just facts. I've had to drive from Cumberland, Kentucky to Roanoke for a meeting, turn around and drive straight back, only to turn around the next morning and drive straight back up to Roanoke, to drive straight back, to drive straight back up again. So, so there's some long hours in that. I'm grateful, fed my family, grateful to be in the mining industry. And be able to feed my family like so many of you all. But at some point after that, I got laid off from that, as many people did, just when coal went down. That was the facts. Got laid off on Cinco de Mayo. I was going to go eat some good Mexican food. Shout out Cezanne. Was going to go eat some good Mexican food. Got laid off that day, so didn't do that. And took a little time, finished up my some degrees at that point. I actually finished up some college degrees. If you're wondering if I'm educated, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I got 6 degrees. So I know how to study. Old dogs learn new tricks. My last one was at age 50.
Look, I seen them.
Yeah, it's fact. So I was able to finish up some stuff there, and it was being paid for through being a laid off miner. That was great. And I actually ended up going to church with a young lady that worked at Red Onion State Prison over in Virginia. She mentioned to me, she knew I was laid off, and there weren't a lot of jobs around. There's still not a lot of jobs around, right? Weren't a lot of jobs around. She mentioned it to me. I put in my application. I went to work for Virginia Department of Correction. I had a degree in law enforcement with a specialty in corrections. I gotten through Southeast. Shout out Southeast Community College, proud alumni. And was able to go over there and function well in that. Did that 3.5 years. And that is a place, I will tell you the number one thing I learned working at Red Onion State Prison. The number one thing I learned. As I told you about my life, I felt like maybe I wasn't treated fairly, or maybe I had a bad life. I've been dealt some bad cards. When you get to maximum security prison, and there's some guys over there that tell you about never knowing their father, that their mother died of an overdose when they were 5 or 6 years old, that they were raised by some family member they didn't know that abused them. They ended up getting enough together to go out in the streets and join a gang just to be treated better. And part of that was you're underage, you had to steal and kill and destroy and do whatever you needed to do to be part of that gang. When you hear some of those stories that I heard over there, brother, I was blessed. My life was a cakewalk compared to some of those guys over there. I mean, it's amazing. So that refocused or reframed my life, Brad. I mean, I went from feeling kind of like I'd been dealt some bad cards to thinking I got all aces, man. I mean, compared to some of these guys, it was amazing.
Guards might as well be getting paid to go to jail. You're going there to work, and
Yeah,
if
I was
you
there.
don't-
That was my part-time home. That was their full-time home,
if
and that's
you
how I
don't know
looked at
about
it.
Red Onion, look it up. It is one of the craziest, worst federal prisons in the world.
It's a tough gig.
DC Sniper. Who else? Is
Yeah, Malvo, Boxcar Killer, Christmas Tree Killer. I walked every one of those guys to recreation or showers or whatever every day. Worked in C building, 24, basically 23-hour day seg is what it was called. Full lockdown, single cell stuff. I mean, so that changes a man's outlook. And honestly, that place just being there day in and day out, I can understand that would be. I don't. If I ever revisited the thoughts of suicide, it might be going to prison or not. Because that place really, after 3.5 years, it just started weighing on my mind. It was changing my attitude. I was being short with my kids. My temper was short. My fuse was short.
Of course.
And I decided at that point, I said, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance. Good buddy of mine up there, Tony Castellari. Shout out Tony Castellari, Black Bear Tire, Cumberland, Kentucky. Cheapest tires on the planet. Go see him.
Go see him, man.
But he had a little buy here, pay here lot. We'd worked together at Creech's, and he allowed me to basically work with him, buy a few cars through him, and just sell a few buy here, pay here cars, enough to be able to pay my bills. Nothing major, nothing extravagant. But I was able to leave my job at Red Onion State Prison and concentrate for a whole year on running for magistrate. And I knocked on over 1,600 doors in District 3, every one of them, knocked right on them. 1,600 doors in District 3, spent the whole year, every meeting I could be out, every event I could be at, doing everything I could possibly do, only won by 16 votes. 16 votes. 1,600 doors, got me 16 votes. Won at the very end, lost 7 out of 9 precincts. I don't know if it's ever been done in Harlan County. I lost 7 out of 9 precincts and still won. The very last precinct that came in is I was ahead by 50 over the other gentleman, and he was ahead by 34. That 50 votes gave me the 16-point edge. So shout out to God on that one, and some good math, and the voters of District 3 that just listened to what I had to say. And I told them, and I'll tell you this now. I told them when I went in, I said, I don't know everything there is to know about being a magistrate. I don't. I didn't at that time. I knew the basics, but I told them, I said, here's the one thing I'm going to be. I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader you've ever had for this district. I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader you ever had for these 3 towns and everything outlying them. We're going to have movement here. We're going to have positive energy here. We're going to make a positive difference. We're going to keep our history, but move it forward into the future. These are things we're going to do. And I had a door hanger. I should have brought it. And that's basically what it said on the back, here to make a positive difference. And that was what I did. We've done a lot up there, but that's part 2. I'm not going to get into that. That's part 2. Part 2, you have to tune back in. But I asked them for their vote, and gratefully, 16 more than the other guy gave me their vote. And I was blessed at that point to become the magistrate, and we've done a lot. You saw a lot of that up there, but that's part 2. We're not going to get on part 2. We're on part 1. Who is Paul Browning? Me. So I've not had my glasses on. If there's questions there, Brad, if there's something that anybody's got to say or anything they want to ask, I'm wide open. I'm an open book. I'm not perfect. You're not talking to Jesus. You're talking to Paul.
My brother wants to know about. You sure have mentioned a lot of crooks, Courtney Gibbons says. And then somebody says, besides Big Talk, because if anything, Cumberland has turned into a ghost town. Well, when I was in
You can
Cumberland,
probably dispute that.
I have to dispute that, because when I was in Cumberland, I was in Raven Rock. I was in the 606
Book
Imperium.
Bazaar, 606 Emporium, Sweet Southern Peach.
The theater that'll be fixed up shortly.
Luigi's, we ate at Luigi's. I mean, on and on and on. But now that's part 2, and we can get into that. That's no problem. I'll give you a quick snippet. We've had 30, actually I think I counted again the other day, 35 commercial properties change hands in the time I've been magistrate. We've had 26 businesses open, with 23 of them still in operation. So come on up, I'll give you a tour just like I did, Brad.
Yeah, I got a
Ain't no
tour
problem.
everywhere.
We didn't even have enough time.
No. What's up, Danny Haley? No, Cumberland is not no ghost town. It used to be, but I can guarantee you it's not a ghost town now. The Possum Festival is something my brother's huge into. He's huge into the concerts. And
Oh, yeah.
Any kind of concert there's around, he's at it.
I fanboyed last year. I'm gonna have to say this. So who is Paul Browning? If you've never seen Laid Back Country Picker, if you don't know who LBC is, Laid Back Country Picker, or LCB, check him out. He's dynamite. We actually got him up to the festival last year, and I was able to introduce him. We may put that online. That may be my first video on TikTok where I introduced Laid Back Country Picker and Luna. Awesome. I enjoyed that more than anything. And that started out as just kind of a whim. Amy Cup, shout out Amy Cup, Southern Wholesale. Valerie Long, who not long anymore. Hill and Holler, shout out to Valerie. And Julie Pitts, you went into the Will and Hearts the other day where they were doing the stained glass. You didn't get a chance to meet Julie, but Julie Pitts, shout out Will and Hearts and Julie. Cool place.
They do stuff for drug addicts.
Oh, it's awesome.
They
got a
help
great
people.
ministry there.
Yeah, if you're an addict and you want to go out there and learn, they will help you.
Yeah.
I've seen that myself.
But those three ladies just kind of came up with an idea, called it Possum Fest. So the first year, those three were involved. Second year, they were still involved. Julie kind of took the lead on that. Her and Ashley, shout out Ashley and everyone there at Will and Hearts. And then the third year, Amy was dealing with her daughter's senior year in high school and having to figure out their college and their path in life. And Valerie had moved from one building and had bought a building for Hill and Holler to occupy, so she was busy. Julie took on the brunt of it this last year as far as setting everything up. We had, now I may get this wrong, but I'm going to be really close. I think it was 165 vendors at Possum Fest, 3 stages of music going the whole time. If you miss Possum Fest, you miss something. But that's the kind of energy that we're bringing up there. That's kind of the things that we, now I can't take credit for Possum Fest. I can help. I helped. I did what I did. They asked me for my part. I did my part. But I can't say that, yeah, I'm the guy that put on Possum Fest. No, I enjoyed Possum Fest. I enjoyed it immensely. It was great. But to say that I can take a lot of credit for that, I can't. Those 3 ladies, awesome people. Put on a great festival. And there's a lot of people. It may be like I'm talking about me. Who is Paul Browning? Paul Browning is a very small cog in all this up there. All I was able to do and all I want to do is basically be a conduit or be a bridge. People that want to start businesses and want to do things. I know people that lend money, that have buildings, that do different things, and we just bridge those things. That's what happens. I mean, I'm not working magic. I'm just involved. I'm there every day. We were up there. How many people were beeping and honking and hollering? And I mean, my kids won't let me go to the grocery store. They're like, "Dad, you'll be there for 3 hours," and but I love it. That's what I love to do. I certainly don't do it for the money. The money as a magistrate's not that great. I made a whole lot more money in my life in many other jobs. Hell, Red Onion pays more right now than I make every year. I could go back there tomorrow, but that's not how it works out. That's not how we want to maneuver things. I just saw a place that I loved and I grew up in, and that's what I wanted to do, was try to make it better. That was my number one thing to do: make where you live better. That's all I'm asking for, is an opportunity to do the same thing as your county judge executive. I'm not the envy of fiscal court. They tell me so there's 6 cities in Harlan County. 3 of them are in my district. Cumberland, Benham, and Lynch are in my district. You've got Harlan, Lowell, and Everett's the other 3. Jim Roddy's the lucky one. He has no city in his district at all, and he'll tell you that.
Father.
But he always looks at me and says, "I'm praying for you, brother." So you got 3 cities up there you deal with. I get along great with all 3 mayors. In fact, most of what we've done in Cumberland, I couldn't have done without Charles Raleigh as the mayor there, and the council people that have been on council. I guess I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 councils now. Benham, same thing, whether it was Howard White, now it's Danny Quillen, great mayor, great council up there. Friends of Benham, shout out to them. They do awesome work up there. Same thing in Lynch, Justin Wren and that council, Roger Will Hoyt, Sissy, everybody up there, Tom Woods. I'm not a magician. I just listen to people's good ideas and we try to figure out how to put them together. If it's a good idea, that's what we do. We just put them together and try to put them in play. One of the things we did up there early on, right before COVID, we did a plan the plan meeting. Mm-hmm. And I talked to you about this a little bit. We put together a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan for the Tri-City area. Great gentleman, Shane Barton, a lot of folks, Dr. Bruce Ayers were involved. A lot of people were involved. The Chamber of Commerce up there kind of put it on. And we were able to put together a 5- and 10-year plan up there. Well, everything got disrupted kind of as soon as we got the plan together with COVID. But the plan that we put together is the plan we're still running on right now. I mean, that's still the plan. and it's working. I mean, we've been able to do all the things we're doing because of that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Once somebody got their big lots gone, movies to go gone. I think movies to go played out. I don't know anybody rents VHS. Big lots moved so they could have more people, and that was fine. That's no problem at all. And Pizza Hut, the rent went up double, and it's gone. But we put in Hometown Heroes and put in Luigi's. He ate some Luigi's the other day. He'll probably tell you it's better than Pizza Hut anyway. So as things leave, they come back in. So wow, there was 3 businesses that had been in existence prior to me being the magistrate. I had nothing to do with any of them leaving. Big Lots have been gone 20 years. Pizza Hut closed while I was there, but that's ownership changing a lease. I can't help that. I have no control over that. If you want to open a Pizza Hut, we've got a building. Come on up. I'll help you sort that out. I know the Freemans personally. We'll get you in there, but it's about $5,000 a month to open it, so it's going to be tough. So that's why it sits there.
Well, Brian Hill, he's running against James Howard in District 5. He says, do you stand with the first responders? Also, do you have a plan to fight for the equipment they desperately need, from clothing to sound and radio systems and all that stuff? Lowell desperately needs a lot, let me tell you.
Well,
I know Brian needs a lot. He's the fire chief down there.
And I think we could probably say that about every. I've got 4 in my district: Lynch, Benham, Cumberland, and then of course I've got Putney down there. That's right at the edge of mine, but they work as many fires in my district as they do outside of it. Of course, we were able to do some big things with Sunshine Fire Department and the second Sunshine up towards Kaywood, Upper Clover Fork. I mean, I'll say this: there's not a bad fire department in this county. I respect every single person. If you're going to run into a burning building, you get my respect right off the bat. I mean,
Larry Hoover,
that's how that works. So, but do you need more equipment? Do you need the ability, the thermal wear to be able to see if there's a body in there, things like? Well, certainly, everybody does. We absolutely do. Is that something that needs more attention, needs more funding? I would agree with that. I'm not in disagreement with that. I'll also say to you that not everything. Let's get this real clear. I don't own a magic wand. There's no such thing as a top hat that I can pull a rabbit out of and just make everything perfect in this county. I would be absolutely lying to you if I told you that. And anybody else that tells you that they can solve all the problems instantly, that's a fib. I've been in fiscal court 7 years, going on my 8th year now as a magistrate. And here's the facts, folks. We don't have tons and tons of money, but we do need to focus some of that money a little better. I'm not in disagreement 100% with Dan Mosley. I'd say 75% of the time we're on the same page. And the reason is just being a good fiscal or responsible person with your money is 75% of that job. It's the other 25% that separates people. That'll separate me from anyone else that's running. It's the 25% that you're able to direct here and there and make the most positive difference that you can. And something else, this blew your mind the other day. So this is something you all need to know. Going back in the history of my memory, so you've got Dan Mosley, you had Joe Grisham prior to that, you had Delzina Belcher prior to that, and someone can correct me on this, it was either Tip Baker or Hugh Hall prior to that, and I don't know which one it was. But in all of those people, none of those judge executives, not one of those judge executives started as a magistrate. So why is it important for someone to be a magistrate looking to seek to be judge executive? I know there's another candidate that talks about his experience. Let me tell you about experience. Experience is when you get out with a chainsaw on Saturday night because there's nobody to cut that tree. I've cut trees out of the road on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's, 4th of July, about any holiday. I think I've only missed Groundhog's Day and St. Patrick's Day. Every other day I've cut a tree out of the road in District 3. But you have to have somebody that's hands-on, where the rubber meets the road. Tip Baker, there you go, Danny, thank you. Where rubber meets the road. My kids, like I say, they won't let me go to the grocery store because it's a 3-hour conversation with somebody, and that's fine. That's what I want to do. So that being able to have a conversation with somebody, there are big things out there that need real attention. There are, but I'll tell you this: if you live on a county road and you drive to your house and there's a pothole there, every day that you drive through that pothole, as you leave your house, you boom, 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 boom. And every day that you come home, boom, 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 boom. You know the number one thing that's on your mind? It's not the fire department. It's not a rec center. It's not any of that stuff. The number one thing that's on your mind is, why do I have a pothole in front of my house? Well, magistrates that's kind of where the rubber meets the road. We do that. Now, are we handcuffed to a certain degree? We are. We can't make decisions. Magistrates can't make decisions. We can't say, we're going to do this today. We have to go through a lot of protocol, have a lot of conversation, plan things out, and get it done. A judge executive is more able, more free will to make those decisions. So from that position, some of these smaller things, a pothole, a tree leaning over the road, branches that hit your windshield every time you go by, the basic day in, day out workings of county government, if I'm your judge executive, if I'm blessed enough to be your judge executive, those things will start going away quickly, because we need to focus on the bigger issues. We need to focus on jobs. We need to focus on things for kids. We need to focus on all that. But it's hard for me to talk with you and for us to have a conversation as long as you're running through that pothole every day, or as long as that tree branch is smacking your window every time you go by. We got to take care of the small things. The old saying is, pick up pennies, it makes dollars. When you take care of the small things, the big things take care of themselves. And that's not 100% how it works, but you have to take care of the small things in order to get to the big things. But I'm really trying to, that's part 2 and part 3. We can talk about all that, but if you've got questions for me, about me, Paul Browning, whoever I am, hit me with that. We're good with that.
I want to address this Icon bad GTA. Explain to everyone how it constitutes fault when roads go unscraped after back-to-back snowstorms, when you knew about them and did nothing to correct it.
I've got an idea who that probably is, and that's okay. Not every single road on the planet is an A road. If you look at the state plans, the A roads are like 119s and 421s and things like that. And then they move to the secondary roads, the 522s, and then the 160s, things like that. So if you may not be in love with it, here's the situation. If there's a county road that has 20 residents on it, and they've got health issues, and they've got all that, they need to get to work, they need to do what they need to do, sometimes when there is an extreme weather situation, we're going to the 20 roads, the 20 people roads. That's where we're going first. We'll get to the people that have 2 houses on a road or 3 houses on a road. So, I mean, I've got, people ask me, well, where are you probably least liking the county? It's probably in District 3. I've had to say no, or if I've had to give an explanation there. That's that. I mean, I can't apologize for protocol. I can't apologize for taking care of 20 people over one person. I can't apologize for those things. That's how that is.
So they're saying you
Hey,
know
I do know who it
is.
is. It was a gentleman that was on your program.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I showed you his house.
His wife's talking, so obviously.
And I can't say anything about his wife, because then he'll say something that I'm picking on her, whatever. So I tell you
just
what, let's
believe,
do. You
you
two
know.
guys, let's go back. We'll get that part 2 and part 3. Go back to Paul Browning. Am I an issue? Let's talk about Paul Browning as a person. If you got an issue with Paul Browning as a person, not Paul Browning as a magistrate, not Paul Browning as a candidate for county judge executive, we'll get to that part 2 and part 3. Did you have any issue with me beforehand? No. Was I at Tri-City Paul's meeting and everybody loved me before that? Absolutely. Plenty of good stuff we've done up there. And that's okay. You can throw rocks. I'm here. Look, hi. We're good. But we can get to that part 2 and part 3.
My brother wants to know about rally car racing, which really intrigued me. And,
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's amazing stuff.
He's saying you cut trees on Layden Trail yourself.
I've done. I do a lot, and not everything gets a Facebook post, and not everything gets a shout out or whatever you want to call it. That's just that you do what you do. That's part of your job. I don't expect to. When I was working at Red Oak State Prison, I didn't expect somebody to say, "Hey, shout out! You took the lunch to that guy," right? I mean, that's just what you do. If it's cutting a tree or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of. I don't know, what do you want to say? There's a lot of things that I'm super proud of, being a magistrate and looking forward to being something else. And there's a lot of things that I'm not in love with. I'm not in love with some of the systems we have in place. Maybe we can change those. Some we can, some we can't, and that's okay. But what I wanted to do tonight was basically just introduce myself. If you had questions about me, maybe he can scroll back and look. I'm sure we've missed a few. I've talked a lot. But if you've got a question about Paul Browning the person, let's deal with that tonight, see what we've got. I'm happy to come back and do part 2, part 3, part 86, whatever you want to do.
This will be a continuing series.
But I don't want to wear anybody out. We're a little over an hour so far. I'm not trying to wear anybody's heads out, as they say.
Anyone else that, any other candidate, we can do as many series as you guys want. Robert Crider's coming on, Mitch Alfred's coming on, Chris Couch is coming on. Hopefully Kobe's coming on. Caitlin, I can't look at TikTok because I'm live over here.
Absolutely. I remember Elmo
sorry.
Haley, great man. Yeah. Worked with my father, was a deputy with my father there in Benham.
But Paul wants to break this down into series. So I've got a question for Paul. So what we're going to do is introduce Paul tonight, and then whatever day we decide, and we'll decide it live right here in front of you guys. That way you know there's no bullshit. Whatever day we decide to come back and break down the politics and get into all that, and then get into everything else. You can tell them better than me. We'll break it down and
Absolutely.
this and that. My father's in here. He says you've got his vote. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a series with all the candidates. I am neutral in this candidate race.
He is.
I've got to stay neutral whether I want to or not.
He does, and I appreciate that.
and
I don't want anybody. I don't want to be on a podcast where somebody's like 1,000,000% Paul Browning. And I told you, Brad. I said I want you to be as neutral as you can possibly be. I want you to have every candidate on here. I want you all to meet every candidate. I hope they go live just like I do.
Yes.
We'll take any amount of questions or whatever's thrown at them and deal with that. Whether good, bad, or otherwise. Here's the thing. A lot of folks, you don't know their record. You don't know their voting record. You don't know their work record. Now, whether you love mine or you hate mine, there's a couple people that obviously don't love it, and that's okay. And we can talk about that too. But by and large, I feel like I've done more good than bad, and it's on record. And you can ask, and you can go, and you can see. I took Brad up there, gave him a tour. There's other people that asked, "What have you done?" Come on up. I'll show you around. It took us 6 hours. So expect it. It's going to be a day, but I'll feed you, get you a good cup of coffee. Some of the best coffee you ever put in your mouth.
Raven Rock,
Yeah.
Raven Rock.
Shout out Raven Rock. Shout out Luigi's. I mean, they took good care of us.
Luigi's.
But I mean, the situation is, come on up. I have no issue. There's nothing to hide up there. There's situation that you know, everything's not perfect. It's not a perfect world. And that's okay. We try to make as much perfection inside the imperfection, I guess, as it is, that we live in. And again, that's all right. Obviously, there's a couple of people that don't love me on this podcast.
Okay, how can we take care of Mr. and Mrs. Gibbons and Paul Browning? How can we squash this?
I have no idea. I've had a situation where they've got a road, Red Eye Road, small road that goes down basically to their house. You can see it from 119 as well. And I have done my due diligence. We've scraped that road, I'll say 90% of the time. Just like it just right on the route. They start at Putney. Someone works 522, comes all the way up Putney. They're closer to Cumberland. So they're not the first road scraped. Usually they're just scraped along with the rest of them. And that's how it works. There's been times when that road hasn't been scraped. That's just facts. It may have gotten scraped later, it may have been later in the day, it may have been the next day. It depends on the storm and it depends on the situation. If you are someone that absolutely thinks that you take precedent in the world on everything, and yeah, maybe there's medical issues, maybe there's situations going on, I can appreciate that, I can understand that, but sometimes things are just on schedule and they go the way they go. I mean, I don't know if I can solve that situation. There are people on this planet here's a quick story. My freshman year in high school, my home room was out in the Elbow Mining area. Basically, if you go from the high school, there's 2 buildings over there to the side. Well, their desks were set up kind of in a horseshoe, for lack of a better way of saying it. Well, I would come in the morning, I'd start on that end, I'd go around, tell everybody good morning until I made it to my seat. Well, there was a fine gentleman named Otis Brown, red-headed, blue-eyed, big fella, big strapping guy. I'd say second week I was there and I'm going around saying good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to people. I heard the chair scoot. Scooted out. I'm thinking, that's odd. I just keep saying good morning, good morning. Well, as I'm turning, going down the back of the next row, I look and there's Otis just walking towards me like this. And I'm thinking, well, that's odd. He should have been going the other way to use the bathroom. Well, I make the next turn, going down, good morning, good morning, good morning. I get to where my chair is. And I'm like, I said, hey, Otis, what's happening? He says, I'm going to kick your ass. I said, okay. Well, I wasn't going to win that fight. I was about 135 pounds. So I made my way out to the principal's office. I ain't ashamed about that. I wouldn't want to take an ass kicking first thing in the morning. I had enough of those in high school already. So made my way to the principal's office. Assistant principal comes out, asked him, said, what was the deal? What's the issue with Mr. Browning? Mr. Brown, what's the issue with Mr. Brown? And he said, he's just too damn happy. He wanted to kick my ass because I was too damn happy. One of the worst times of my life, I guess he thought I was too damn happy. So some people you just can't sort out. You want to kick my ass because I'm too happy? Well, there we are. I mean, that's just life. You can throw rocks. That's fine. Is there a situation that was not perfect? Absolutely. I can tell you a lot of situations that are imperfect. Is my time as magistrate? Is my time walking through life? There's a lot of things I'd love to go back and redo, do over, and do a different way. But guess what? If you live in regret, if you live in thoughts of I shoulda, woulda, coulda, you'll be stuck there. That's a prison to you. And I'm not going to live that way. I mean, I try to go forward and try to do things as good as we can. I dare ask if the road has been scraped perfectly through every snowstorm we've had here the last little bit. I'd say it has. But
That's a good question. Has your road been scraped good this year?
yeah,
Well, it seems like they're totally against you, and he says they had
that's
to
okay.
go across the tracks to an ambulance. But has your roads been scraped good this year?
And I've had new guys. I've had since in the 7 years I've been there on his particular route. I've had 1, 2, 3. I've had 5 different guys work that route in 7 years. So they'll also miss a road. I mean, it's easy to miss a road. We've got, God Almighty, we've got roads after roads after roads up there that we have to take care of. Our situation is up there. We'll probably have the most paved roads in District 3. I'm proud about that. We use the
Big
least amount of
district.
gravel, but we use the most amount of salt. We have 3 trucks that handle that district up there when it snows. One comes up 119 and heads straight to Clover Lick. One comes up 522 and then hits some parts of Cumberland. And one goes all the way up, hits Klutz, the Letcher County line all the way up there. They come back and hit the roads after that. I mean, it's just the way it's designed. That was designed that way before I was in there, and that's kind of the way it is. We do all we can as we can, and there's stuff we don't do perfectly. Every day. I screw up every day. I do. I lean on grace every single day of my life. I'm sure there's something I missaid here tonight, and that's that. I mean, that's the way it is. I don't come to you as perfect. I come to you as imperfect and try to explain to you that maybe there's a quirk that you don't like about me. Well, here's maybe the reason, or maybe that's the reason. So, but we can talk all about me. We can talk about anything you want. I'd like to, part 2, the way we talked about this is he knew I was going to talk a lot, and I knew he was going to talk a lot, so it was going to take a while. So we thought we'd do part 1, who's Paul Browning, and then do part 2, Paul Browning as the magistrate, and then you can throw all the rocks you want, and we'll sort that out. And then part 3, looking forward to see if you wanted Paul Browning as a judge executive, what that looked like. Is that kind of how we sorted that out, more or less? So this is part 1, hi, I'm Paul Browning. Here's a little bit of my life. Here's some of the roads I've walked on. They've not all been perfect. I've dealt with addiction issues. I've had, here's a funny joke, I've had 2 marriages and 4 divorces. Sort that one out. So, I mean, I'm not perfect.
Back on.
Yeah, I'm not that person.
Yeah.
If you're looking for Jesus Christ, He does live in me. I'm grateful for that, but I am not Him. I'm not Jesus. Shout out Jesus, but I'm not Him, right?
Yeah. Hit that like button.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
He's
that
watching.
guy. You know,
Yeah.
I live on grace every single day of my life. I screw up every day of my life. I'll admit when I screw up. Has everything been perfect on Red Eye Road? Hell no, it's not. Has it been scraped perfectly every time? Hell no, it's not. That's just facts. We can get into the ins and outs of that. But there's no need for that. Well, I won't say there's no need for that. We can sort that out however. If you want to have a conversation with me, I'll meet with you anytime. Our last conversation didn't go that well. Thought there wasn't any more reason to have one. That's okay. If you want to open that dialogue back up, you can explain your side to me. I'll explain my side to you. Maybe you'll see it my way. Maybe I'll see it your way. But we'll have the conversation. We still have the conversation. We're having the conversation now. I'm not going to run away from a conversation. I'm not going to run away from an issue. And if it's an issue, something we screwed up, I screwed up, me personally, I'll own it. I'll wear it like a stinky rag. It's no problem. I'm good with that. And if we can fix it, we'll fix it. I mean, that's just how you do it. I mean, if you get up every day wanting things to be better, then things get better. If you wake up every day saying things are going to get worse, they'll get worse. It's all in your outlook, and that's where we're at. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't know what else to say. They're mad, and They don't seem like it can be fixed. So my brother was talking about. Oh yeah.
Shout out Lindsey Browning, my daughter.
Oh yeah, your daughter's. Shout out to your daughter. She's been commenting all night long. She's been commenting. My brother was talking about the rally races, and
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
telling me about all the people coming in from Europe.
Oh yeah, that was
all
awesome.
them crazy cars and stuff.
We'll touch on that, and we'll save that for part 2 as well. But yeah,
Okay.
the first rally race ever in the state of Kentucky. Was grateful to be a part of that. Shout out 2 days ago, Marcel Cascai, my friend from Transylvania. Blah, blah, blah. Engineer from there. Met him. Brad Gates with SCCA and hill climb events that you've seen in Pineville and some other places. There was a very small group of us that got in a couple of cars and drove through Layden Trail, drove through Little Shepherd Trail, drove Slope Hollow, drove all over the county looking for some of the best roads out there to do this on. We were able to sort out some of the roads. I'm grateful to be involved in some of the Senate bills that have been passed lately that will shut down the ability to shut down some state roads to have races on with safety precautions. I mean, everything's there. I'll lay that all out to you, maybe in the vision going forward of what we can do in the county. But yeah, grateful to be a part of that. That was an amazing. I mean, people, they flew cars in from Europe. They flew pilots in from Iowa and drivers and co-drivers. I mean, it was amazing to be riding downtown Cumberland just to see all that at that time. That was one of those. They gave me one of the rally posters and one of the signs that have the turns on it, whatever. They all signed it. It's really neat. That's a good memory. I was able to, and again, that's just another situation where, like with Backroads of Appalachian, we'll touch on that in part 2 as well. The conversation I had with Eric Hubbard, that's one of the biggest motorized tourism drivers on the planet right now. That started with a conversation, and I'm not taking all the credit. Obviously, Mr. Hubbard had that in his mind, but he had no place to put that. He and I had a conversation for about an hour and 15 minutes. I can't remember whose phone died, mine or his. One of them did, but we were able to put that. The headquarters for Backroads of Appalachia is in Lynch, Kentucky. Lynch, Kentucky, right on Main Street. I showed it to you the other day. That's the headquarters for the whole operation. They're in 13 states now. It's amazing what they've done. What did that take? That just took listening and trying to put something in play. And that's what we did. That's what I do every day of my life. So, yeah. Anything else on there I'm missing?
Caitlin Cox, CASA, court-appointed special advocates that represent children in cases of abuse, neglect, dependency. Many of our county governments support our organization, and we would like to Harlan County to support.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a degree in law enforcement, right? My father was a police officer. My son was a police officer. Went through the whole academy, police officer, Radcliffe, Kentucky. I'm grateful that he's not because of Radcliffe. It's just I had no sleep when he was a police officer. And the times that he was, it was just not a good time to be a police officer. A lot of people asked me, said, you jumped all the hoops. You actually ran for sheriff after my father passed. I did a write-in campaign. It was really more of a protest, and I didn't anticipate I could win that. Although we did get the second highest vote total per population in the state. The only time that was better was in the 1800s. A guy ran for governor or something. So anyway, we did some remarkable stuff, but I knew that was a protest. I knew that was more of a protest than a campaign, and that's okay. But a lot of people asked me, said, you've got the degree in law enforcement. Why didn't you run for sheriff? Why aren't you in policing? That answer is very simple. Simple answer, folks. If I, as a police officer, walked in on a situation where somebody was abusing a child, especially sexually, I'm going to be judge, jury, and executioner.
By God.
They're done. I mean, there's things I don't...
Yes,
Sometimes rape is worse than murder. And I know that's a hard thing to say, but that's facts. If I'd walked in on a situation where somebody was taking advantage of someone else, and especially a child, they're done. So I have to know my limitations. Sure, maybe that person's never going to do that again, but then I'm in prison for the rest of my life as well, right? Because that's not the job of a police officer. It's to process the situation and let the prosecutors and attorneys sort it out and prison sentences and so forth and so on. I guarantee you, if I'd walked in on a situation where somebody's doing something bad to a child, they're dead. There's not even a question. They're done. Absolutely, right there, bought and paid for. As Alan Lane, shout out Alan Lane, went through everything with him there. My professor for most all my law enforcement, he used to have a thing he called DRT, dead right there. They would be DRT. They would be dead right there immediately. There's some things I don't tolerate on this planet. That's one of them. So when we're talking about taking up for children, sorting out situations like that. That's not necessarily the role of a judge executive, but is that absolutely something we can help funnel some money to and focus on? I think that's probably one of the highest priorities. I mean, I get that kids want a splash pad. You know what kids really want? They don't want to go home and be abused. They don't want to have to deal with situations that are I dealt with situations far beyond my control as a teenager, a preteen. I can't even think about if you're 5 or 6 years old having to deal with stuff. I can't even think about it. I'm blessed, I promise you. But kids want to have a normal existence on this planet. And then once we get to that normal existence, then we can build on activities and we can build on skating rinks and we can do all those things. All those things are available. They're all possible. We'll get to that in part 3. I'll tell you right now, why am I not a police officer? Because if I ran into that situation, I would go from police officer to prisoner. And that's just a fact. Because dead right there, they would be DRT. That's 100%. If you want to know something I'm passionate about, children having a normal life and not having to deal with abuse and not having to deal with situations that are beyond their control, number one issue. And although I can't necessarily affect it, I do have one of the things I did. I've got a counseling human services degree from Lindsey Wilson. I wanted to do it the first year they were in, had to wait 17 years, did it when I was 50 years old. One of the reasons I did that is if politics don't work out for me and whatever happens, that's where my goal is going to be. That's where my end spot's going to be. I'm going to be there helping kids every day because that's what you have to do. I mean, that's when kids are our future. That's a cliche. That's a fact. That's a fact. If you have damaged children, you have damaged adults. Damaged adults damage more adults and damage more children. If you don't fix it in the children's area, if you don't take care of our kids, what are you doing?
Well, you're going to have a bunch of junkies and felons and stuff in 15 to 18 years.
Our number one export here,
Big
people say our number one export here is coal. Our number one export here is humans. We have sent some of the best and brightest humans from this county to all parts of the world. I can go on and on and on, just in Lynch, just in Benham, just in my area, not talking about just everywhere else. Our number one export has been humans. We need to have a way to keep those. This is part 3 stuff. I'm sorry, but it'll be a teaser. We have to have a reason for those folks to stay here. Your kids, your grandkids, my grandkids. I want them to stay here. I want them to be able to live. I want them to be able to do what they want to do and do it right here. And it's possible. Again, not a magic wand, not a rabbit out of a hat. It's nothing that's instant. But if you plan, it can happen. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you put a plan together and you work that plan and you do it diligently and you do it financially in a responsible manner financially, and you set those goals out there and you achieve them one by one, we can make this place great. Come to District 3, I'll give you a snippet. That's working with Charles Raleigh, that's working with Danny Quillen, that's working with Justin Wren, that's working with the councils up there and everybody else. We've been able to do some heavy lifting, we'll say, up there in a very short amount of time, and there's plenty left to do. You may not see it immediately. My main man Brad got to see a theater. He was like, how many seats are in here? 300 seats. I mean, there's things up there that you won't believe, and we can do those things across this whole county. Again, that's part 2, part 3 stuff. But,
that theater can very well be used very easily, and it's just I know the ins and outs of that. That's nothing to sound here, but yeah, we'll get that took care of. We'll hopefully get that theater rolling. And when
that can happen.
When I say we, I mean other people I know.
Well, you've got to be a part of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to do your part too.
Yeah.
It takes everybody. I can't do anything as one person. That's just facts. One person can't do anything to change this world. I mean, very little. You can have very, very little effect as one human being. But if you work with other human beings and other people that want to see a positive difference, you can do about anything you want to on this planet. We've been effective doing that. I think we can continue to be effective doing that. That's kind of the goal. That's kind of the plan. This is a county judge executive job. That's not an easy job. If you think, oh, it pays it don't pay. I've made more money than that job makes. And I'm not bragging. That's just I've been blessed in my life and I've been cursed. I've had both. I've made money, not made money. I've had had the ability to build a house. I also lived in a house I had no heat in for 2 years. I would go out in my car to get warm at night so I could go to sleep. So I've been in a lot of different places. Things aren't perfect in my life. It's not been a perfect life, but I've learned lessons all throughout it. And you take all those lessons and you try to make sure that other people don't necessarily have to walk on those bad roads. I tell my kids, you can do anything you want. I'm just going to be the guardrails. I'm going to keep you from running in the ditches I ran into. All I'm here to do is provide guardrails. So I want to get with everybody here, everybody in this county. We basically have 5 counties inside this one county. There's 5 very distinct different places. And we need to talk in every one of those places and find out what works best there and concentrate on that. That's what we've got to do. Again, that's part 2, part 3 stuff. But I definitely appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you tonight. Hopefully you've got a little insight into who is Paul Browning, the roads I've walked in my life, and some of the things I've seen, good, bad, and otherwise, and what we've been able to do. I appreciate the mayor of the streets here allowing me to come on and have this conversation with you. And you may have some other questions for me. I'm not trying to click out on you. I know we got to land the plane at some point. People need to go to sleep, so.
Now we're going to go another 30 or 40 minutes just off what I've got. But Adam Gibbons says he has a plan. I just want to address this real quick. And Adam, this is what I say. Your comment, I'll read it to Powell. He's got a solution. Won't cost the county a dime. All I need is for CSX Prover. I'll pay for it. We'll build it. Done deal. All you got to do is get
right
it
across
signed.
the tracks.
Get up with Powell and talk to him on Messenger. You guys can talk civil now. Mayor worked it out.
Right. CSX is a tough corporation to get in touch with. We've talked to them before, the section there in Klutz and a couple other places, but they're not impossible to get in touch with. I agree. That is the number one solution. That is the best solution in your situation. You were a rocks throw from 119. I can hit your house with a rock. It's right there. I showed the mayor exactly where you lived and was trying to explain that. I was going to actually take him down Red Eye Road, but I was able to show him from 119. I said, the gentleman that was on there, I just want you to understand right there is where he lives, and that's kind of the situation. So I gave him a little bit of insight to that. And was I running him down?
Nope.
I wasn't running him down. I said, it's a situation. I understand the situation. Sometimes we can't put two things together sometimes the way they need to be put together. And if there's an apology, I apologize to you. I'm sorry that everything hasn't worked just as it's supposed to. I can give you a million reasons. I can give you a million excuses. But at the end of the day, if you want to hear an apology from me for a situation that you've had to deal with that was on your mind, I do apologize to you. I've been in those situations, and I don't like feeling helpless. I don't like having to say not now, later, no, yet. I don't like that. But that's the situation I found myself in more times than not. But I'll offer you an apology. Absolutely, I apologize to you. And there's other people that I've owed apologies to. I've given apologies to some of those people.
I apologize to people all the time.
I mess up.
Ainsley, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I mess up, and that's okay. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I would much rather have a conversation with you, right or wrong. Whoever's right, whoever's wrong, and sometimes it's not right or wrong. But you can find out in between there that this person isn't right and this person isn't wrong, but maybe it's the situation that's got things messed up. In a lot of cases I found, that's it. The situation is what you got to deal with. It's not this person or that person. No, it's a situation. So when you work on that situation and try to figure out how to put those pieces together, that's what you do. That's just the unfortunate part. I'll say this, I've been there and I do my best and I fail. I fail. There's not everything works out. Some things work out wonderfully. Some things do not. And but I own it. I will own it. Good, bad, or otherwise. I do apologize.
Okay, so maybe we can get something worked out here. Say Crack 42, come in handy.
There you go.
Beef can be squashed. There it is.
Yeah.
So,
but no, that's great. I have no issue. I'll find out the contacts for CSX that we've used in the past. I know a gentleman that works for CSX. I'm certain he can get me a contact somewhere. They wanted to sell us a section of track that we were looking at. Unfortunately, I think they wanted $50 million for it or something insane. But yeah, if we can get a crossover there, I think it's either a double or triple set of tracks right in front of your house. I know it's at least a double, but if we can get a crossover there, amen. I mean, that solves my issue and yours. It's done right there. Because you have to leave from your house and go straight up a hill to the old road. I get that there's an issue there. I understand that there's health issues at your house. And I wish you could, I'll just be honest with you. I wish you could run up and down that hill 100 times a day, and I know you do too. And that there was zero issues at all with getting out of there. You find yourself in a health situation. I found myself in not great situations either. So, but yeah, let's see if we can sort it out. We just got to get permission from CSX, and that may be where the rubber doesn't meet the road. But
yeah, so if Powell tries and CSX says no,
I'll tell you, we'll know. You'll have the contact that I'll have. I'll record the phone call. I'd rather it be wide open. There's nothing. I don't have anything to hide. There's nothing. Again, I'm imperfect, and that's just facts in the world. I don't present myself as Jesus Christ. That would be foolish on my part.
So Powell's wanting to get into the politics and stuff next, and then what he's going to do for magistrate and all that. Two more parts.
Right.
So I've got a question I really want to ask that goes back way off all this stuff.
Okay.
When your father got out of prison, what
Yes, sir.
year would that have been?
80, let's see, I would have been 17. I think I graduated when I was 18, so that's probably 85, 86, right in there. 85, 86.
Okay, my two questions coming out of that, and then I'll move on, is how did it affect him? Was he institutionalized, and did you all get to go visit him, or was it just hard times?
I went a few times with my mom. I mean, we had a 1980 Volkswagen Scirocco 4-speed that had no air conditioning. And that thing had plenty of miles on it when everything happened with my father. I stated, again, I don't think you saw the Facebook post. The gentleman that said, "Oh, my dad embezzled money and that's how I was running this campaign," or whatever. No, we had a car that was barely held together. We ended up having to leave our house, move in with her mom and dad, my grandmother and grandfather. We couldn't afford to stay in the house. We ended up losing the house and the cars trying to defend my father. I visited him a couple times, I think once at LaGrange, one out, and you may know where this is, but all the way out, land between the lakes, basically as far out as you can go in western Kentucky.
Probably
out there.
Eddyville.
Eddyville, exactly. Thank you, sir. Eddyville. I visited him once at Eddyville. I know him once at LaGrange. So he was in the toughest of the tough state prisons. He wasn't given a medium security or minimum security prison. So he dealt with a lot of stuff. I think he was angry when he came out. I'll say that. I don't know about institutionalized because I didn't really know what that means. I know now, having worked in Red Onion, what that means more so. I don't necessarily say he was institutionalized, but he was a man of order anyway. A place for everything in its place. I could go over all those sayings he gave me my whole life that he probably learned from his father or his grandfather right over there in Fairview. But he was angry, and again, I was angry at him. So I didn't spend a lot of time around him. He didn't spend a lot of time around me. He just kind of kept to himself, and I kept to myself, and we coexisted. I guess the best way to say that. And I didn't understand his anger. I don't think he understood mine. And that's just kind of how we just coexisted really for a while. And it was, again, I graduated in 87. So that was 85, 86 when he got out, and graduated in 87. I was around 88, I think, is when we first moved to Cincinnati. He went to work for my uncle up there, and then I came back for a while, went to school, I think a year, went back up because I ran out of money, couldn't afford to stay in school and feed myself. Went back up, stayed for 2 years, I think almost, came back to school. I'm 2 classes away from a banking and financing degree, if that matters to anybody. They quit the program at Southeast, so I never could finish that program, but that's what I wanted to go into, was banking and finance. And went back, again, ran out of money, went back to Cincinnati, and then came back for some school again and started the A to Z contracting business, some other stuff. Coal miners got laid off, like I was talking about earlier. We went up there, did some good work, made some good money up there, but it just wasn't home. When I decided to come back finally, and then when my father decided to move back after my son was born, that's really probably the only time we really had a relationship growing up. I mean, my whole life was after my son was born. I think he felt a lot of anger, first off. I think he felt a lot of shame. So when I named my son basically after myself, after him, after his father, he's Paul Lewis Browning IV, I think he felt like that was a way of me saying I'm sorry, or that it was okay, and that I didn't blame him anymore. And our whole relationship changed at that point. It was probably not the best thing for me to do to name my son after me and after him and after his father, my grandfather. But I'm not saying I'm proud of that name, but I'm not ashamed of that name. It has its ups, it has its downs, but I think that name says that kind of no matter what comes at you, you can deal with it, right? I mean, no matter what. I mean, he was put in prison. Take that however you want. He did end up in prison. He made it out of prison and was never supposed to. I don't think I was supposed to make it, but I did. My son was born under 2 pounds. He was not supposed to make it. He did. I think the name means perseverance, honestly, in my opinion. So I can't think of a better name to name my child. I'm grateful I was named after my father and his father. I think that's if there's a family history there, I think it's just kind of beating the odds. I should have never won as magistrate. Here I am. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things I should have never done in my life that I've been blessed to do, and maybe it's perseverance, maybe it's just being stubborn, whatever that situation is. Same thing with my father. Same thing with my son. I mean, I shout out Paul the Fourth, Lindsay, my daughter, amazing. I could
She's
go on
rocking
and on.
hard in the comments. Y'all
Yeah.
hit that like button.
Yeah, I can
drop a
brag on my
super
kids.
chat. Get a
Gosh.
membership. Support the channel.
Yeah,
it
hit
ain't
all that
nothing.
stuff up. If you like this content, do all the things he just
Hey.
said that I don't necessarily understand, and that's okay. But subscribe, get the super chat, do all that stuff. That keeps
Super
programs
chat-
like this on, right?
Super chats and cash apps and PayPals and memberships and stuff is what keeps the channel rolling. And if you want to support the channel, drop a super chat, by God, get a membership. The next one could be members only when we get into the politics.
Might happen. Might happen.
You never
Might
know.
happen.
Ernie Shell taught me some good stuff. Speaking of Ernie Shell, you said his father helped
His
you
father.
tremendously.
He
And my
did.
YouTube audience will really want to hear about this and tell us about this.
That's a part of Paul Browning prior to being magistrate. When everything happened with my father, when he was murdered, like I say, I did the write-in campaign, and I focused. I'm 1/4 Jones from Jones's Creek. Now, whether you love people from Jones's Creek or you don't, I'll tell you this: it did save me a fight one time in a bar in Cincinnati. I told a fellow that, and he backed right off because I think that meant you take a rusty knife and you find both kidneys. So my father is 1/2 Jones from Jones's Creek.
Wow,
and
Jones is crazy.
and he knew a lot of people up there. He had a lot of family, a lot of friends up there. And after everything happened with my father, a lot of those people reached out to me. So when I decided to start that write-in campaign for sheriff, they asked me to come up there and they'd take me door to door and take me different places. And two of the people that ended up doing that, Mr. Wayne Anglin, probably the smoothest voice, should have been a country music singer. And I don't even like country music. That man had a voice for radio, and he actually wasn't bad looking. He could have pulled it off. But and the other gentleman that was in the truck with me every day was Mac Shell, Ernie's dad, and they took me all over District 2. We started at Goose Bottom and worked our way all the way down, all the way up Black Mountain, Black Joe up, Kits. We went to every single part of that place. I talked to a lot of good people, ate a lot of good food, sat on a lot of porches and kitchen tables, drank coffee, had some cake. It was kind of a way to busy my mind through all that. And the support that I got from Wayne and Mac, you hear those credit card commercials, $100, priceless. I don't know if I could have made it through that and kept my sanity if it hadn't been for Ernie's dad, Mac. And just be honest with you, his mom, Crystal, great lady, always had. I show up in the morning, say, "You want some coffee? You want something to drink?" "No, ma'am, thank you very much. I'll have to pee myself to death if we get on the road." But great lady. Her whole family's great. Mac was great. Wayne, great. Betty Boop, thank you, Betty. It was Wayne's sidekick in life. Great people. Met some of the finest people ever during the toughest time of my life. I really did, and I cherish those. I cherish those times, the positive memories from that as much as I do anything. I guess in like I say, in the worst times in the world, when you meet really good people, it gives you a little bit of hope that not everybody's against you, not everybody's mad, not everybody hates you. So I can't give them enough respect. I can't give them enough thank yous to tell them what that meant to me during that time of my life. It really did. I guess Ernie was. I don't know if he was out of diapers. So at 2000, that's 4 years ago or something now, I guess.
Well, he would have been bounty hunting or something.
I may have been at that time.
He might have been.
He was a young fella because he's probably not much more than 30 something now, is he?
No, he's older than me.
Is he really?
If I'm 44, Ernie's about 47.
Well,
Yeah.
I apologize, Ernie. You was probably out and about doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, he was MMA fighting.
It may have been. May have been.
Yeah. So, if you have any more questions for Powell, that's really just who is Powell Browning, let's get them in. We want to try to. I'm in no hurry, but we want to make this a series. So. I've had an incredible week. I've got Beer Company chili and everything.
Go get you some crack 40 chili.
Go to the Harlan County Beer Company. They
He's
got
he's got his own menu. What's up with that? I ain't got my own menu. He's got his own menu. Who's the star here?
God.
This guy.
God's put me in a great position right now. I've got one of the candidates for running for county judge executive right here. I've seen finally.
I saw Colby pop up there. Did you see
he
that?
popped up and sent me a message. I've been getting in touch with Colby Gauss, who graduated a year before me. I played football with him my whole life. He is the current deputy judge executive.
He is.
I have him on here. I spoke with Robert Crider today. Chris Couch, I have him on here. Russell Huff, I don't know about. If anybody knows him, reach out to him. I want to treat all these guys fair and have them all on here. And I don't know if this is a question for now or later, but May is very crucial. What do you think about us having a public debate somewhere?
Oh, absolutely. I think we should have 50 of them. I think we should have one every day. I mean, that's
agree.
I'll say this, and this may be more part 2, part 3, but whether you like what I say or you don't like what I say, you're hearing my words. I'm here live. You can talk to me on the streets. You can talk to me anywhere you want. I don't use Chat GPT. I don't use AI. I don't answer questions. If you ask me a question, you send me a message, you get my words back. That's what you get. Love it, hate it, right or wrong, you get me. You don't get a robot version of me. You don't get a made-up version of me. You get me. And that may not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. That's why we have choices in the election. And you can vote for anybody you want. Do I hate Colby Goss? Absolutely not. Do I hate Mitch? Absolutely. Any of the candidates out there, I don't have any issues with them. If they're trying to do something positive, if there's any candidate out there that's trying to do something positive for this county, amen. That's what I want you to do. Everybody, this is not easy. Politics is not fun. Running for office, I mean, you're wide open. You can see it here on the thing. People will throw rocks at you, good, bad, or otherwise, deserved or not. It's okay.
Game,
it's how it works. I mean, I can tell you, because of politics, my father's not alive.
Yeah.
These are facts, and I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm not asking for that. I'm just telling you, this is not picking flowers and putting them in a basket. This is not an easy thing to do.
And it's Harlan County.
And it's Harlan County on top of that. I mean, this is not I mean, he went to prison first, and maybe some people say, well, he didn't learn his lessons. He got unalived. Well, however you want to say it, whatever your thoughts are, those are your thoughts. But I can tell you, I've seen the definitely not the best side of politics, and I've definitely tried to, as I've been involved, to present the best side of politics. And it doesn't always work out. Everything's not perfect. But to tell you that this is easy, no. Any candidate that tells you that they enjoy this process, you need to have them, a psychiatrist check them out, including me, because that's just not, it's not fun. It's not easy. I would love to change some of the way that the politics are handled. I would love that there wasn't a two-party system when it comes to local politics. I think everybody wants to sign up, run. In the spring, you get your 2 top vote getters, and they go to November. No Democrat, no Republican, no independent, just a free-for-all. I think that's a better way to do it. We're stuck with a two-party system from the state. That's the way it works. I was a Democrat most of my life. The gentleman that was over the Democrat Party ticked me off after everything that happened with my father. They weren't going to let me go to a Democrat rally. They came and stopped me at my car. My wife at the time and me were in the car. They got on both sides of the car, said, you're not allowed in here. I said, well, YMT will be here soon. You can explain it to them. Got out of the car, went to the front door. They had 2 people there, stopped me at the door, said, you're not allowed in, Mr. Browning. I said, you can explain it to YMT. I go to the inside part of the National Guard Armory. More guards there. Said, you can't come in. I said, you can explain it to YMT. The gentleman that was over the Democrat Party at the time came out, had a conversation with me, said, you're not going to be allowed to speak here tonight. I was a smart ass, and I said, does that mean I can't talk or I don't get a microphone? He said, you don't get a microphone. I said, I don't need a microphone. We're good. So I went inside. I had a great evening. A lot of folks that I could shout out, but I won't. I had a lot of good conversations. At the end of the night, I was kind of the last person to leave. I was helping old ladies carry soup beans to their car and whatever. And that gentleman came up to me and said, real smart ass, did you enjoy your evening, Mr. Browning? I said, more than you'd ever know. And he said, well, that's good to hear. I said, well, I can tell you one thing, sir. I said, the minute that I'm able to change my party, the first day that I'm able to do that, I will do that. So if you want to know how I became a Republican, it wasn't out of popularity. It was because someone in the Democrat Party really upset me on a local level. That's when I decided to change Republican, because there was only 2. Independents weren't even really thought about at that time or anything else. And he told me after I said I was going to change parties, he said, well, good luck ever getting elected in this county, Mr. Browning. I said, that'll be fine, sir. Nice. So I will say that when I was elected magistrate, I was the only elected Republican in the entirety of the courthouse, 2 terms back. The only one. Wow. And that's not saying that I'm awesome or Republicans are awesome. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I worked my ass off. And that's what I did. And I think I proved myself. I won the second time around against a very tough opponent. Tracy Bailey, good person. We're very similar in age, very similar in friendships. I won that race. I was grateful to have that. I put the work in, and it doesn't matter about party to me. I mean, there's some things that are important in your thought process, and maybe you align with this party or that party. But I'm looking for positive ideas from everybody. I don't care if you're from the Ding Dong Party. If you've got a good idea, let's work on that part.
Yes.
Let's get that idea in motion, right? It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. I don't. It doesn't matter. Positive is positive. Doesn't matter what you are, what party you are, what color, none of that matters. Zero of that matters. If you're positive and you want to have a positive impact in this county, if you want to be positive and see things go forward, we need to be together.
On Larry Hoover, he's right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. That's how I try to operate every single day of my life. There's days that I go backwards and don't go forwards, but the next day I try to get back to a forward motion on it. There we are, right? I mean, that's everything. Yeah. I don't know.
With the age of a lot of the politicians, what do you think about youth in a lot of these political places?
I'm grateful to see young people
Because
getting involved.
listen, hang
I
on,
really
hang on,
am.
hang on. What was we talking about before we come on? Your son told you social media was the way to go. Look at Trump.
He did. That's exactly what he told me.
Who was with Trump? Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Mr. Beast, all of them.
Yep.
From YouTube.
Yep.
So what do you think about youth and the power of what we're doing with social media now? What do you think about?
Oh no,
youth in
absolutely. I
office?
mean,
Social media.
So here's the situation that we've kind of gotten ourselves into. A lot of times, especially in the world of magistrates, and this is not throwing rocks at anybody. I get along with Paul Caldwell. I get along with Bill Moore. I get along with Jim Roddy. I get along with James Howard. Consider them all friends, all
too.
good people, no issues at all. So this is
Me
not throwing
too.
a rock. But here's the situation we've kind of lulled ourselves into over the last, most of my memory of people in magistrates roles, especially. You have a situation there where the pay isn't great. People think we make hundreds of thousands of dollars as a magistrate. We don't. It's in the 40s. I'll just tell you straight up. There's not a lot of money to be made there because it really is a full-time job here. Now, other parts of the state, it's not. Some of them have 8 magistrates in a county that's the size of one of their districts. That's just how it works, and they get paid accordingly. They might make $3,000 or $4,000 a year. That's okay. We put in work here as magistrates. We really do. I think that pay needs to go up. You may not agree with me. Walk in my shoes, hang out with me all day, you may change your mind. I think we need to allow for people that aren't just working on a retirement and maybe have already retired and looking to do this. I'll say every one of those guys I just mentioned, do something positive for their districts in the county. I'm not taking anything away from them.
Yes.
But they've all got either other businesses that help pay their bills, or they've retired and got a retirement coming in to help pay their bills. I always tell them I'm the brokest magistrate in fiscal court, and that's just the fact. I am. I'm the least one. I'm driving a 2015 Subaru I paid $3,400 for 8 years ago, and I've got a 2006 GMC truck that I was blessed to be able to get for $7,000 low miles. That's my car.
Roddy ain't growing.
Yeah, so right. So I mean, that's where I'm at in the world. I think the pay needs to be up. I love that I'm seeing young people sign up for. We had that in Cumberland City Council. We had Benham and Lynch, all three. We've had younger people sign up there to get involved in government actions. I've seen younger people. And when I say younger people under 50 is kind of where I draw the line at younger. I'm over 50, but young at heart. Obviously, you can tell that tonight. But people under 50 and even people under 40 and some under 30 have been involved in city councils. Up on my end, I've encouraged them to get involved. It's hard to change things from the outside. It's a lot easier to change it from the inside, even though it's a tough job. So we've had a lot of success up on my end. I'm grateful for that. The people that have gotten involved and bring new ideas and new thought processes, new ways to do things. I told this guy right here, I said, I was trying to get on live the other night, couldn't get on. He said, you're going to make it. I tried to make it a tick. Let's just say I'm not the most electronically experienced candidate on the planet. I'll say that. We got it sorted out, though. We got it sorted out.
Go follow
We're making it there. But it's this way. I'm not going to be able to knock on every door. The time that we have, I can't knock on every door. I'd love to knock on every door in this county, but I'm still the magistrate, and I still have a job to do every single day. And that limits the time that I can be. I mean, I'm here. We're doing this at 7:30 at night. Because at noon today, there was plenty going on in my world. That's just how it goes. So I'm not going to be able to knock on every door. So mediums like this and being able to have the conversation here with the mayor of the streets, allows me to come into your home just like I would be if I was knocking on your door, and hopefully you got some insight from my personal life, and we're able to have that conversation across the whole spectrum instead of just one-on-one. And I'm happy to have it with you one-on-one, but just realize that the amount of time between now and the election is this, and I'd love to talk to all 26,000 people in this county, but add the time up. If it was a 1-minute conversation, 26,000 minutes times number of days, can't happen. It's an impossibility. It just can't happen. There's a whole nother story. We'll get to that part 2 or 3 about why there's not enough time for me to knock on doors, and we'll talk about that too.
And we'll get this clipped up and put on TikTok in several parts, and then he can put it on his TikTok as well.
There we go.
And then it'll reach more of Harlan. I expected a lot more people to be watching, but the right people's watching.
Well, there we go. Everything happens for a reason, right?
Once it gets clipped up into in several parts and dropped on TikTok, everybody in Harlan will be seeing it.
They will.
So,
that's quite all right. I mean, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you this evening. I'm grateful that Brad has the ability to put all this together. I couldn't do it. That's why he's here. You're right, mayor of the streets, and I won't call you Mouth of the South. That's an old wrestling term.
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South. But yeah, it's we'll say Mouth of the Streets anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, bringing this content to you. I appreciate that. I appreciate to have the opportunity. I'm glad everybody that tuned in. I hope you realize something. I hope if you take away nothing else that from tonight that I'm Paul Browning. That's all I am. I'm just Paul. I'm not Magistrate Paul. I'm not this Paul. I'm just Paul. I've had a rough life. You've had a rough life. There's not enough jobs here. There's not enough things to do. There's not enough housing. We could talk about all the issues in the world, and we'll get to that part 2 and part 3 and how we can solve some of that stuff. There's more issues than there are solutions, but together we can put those solutions together. And if you're willing to step up and do something, we can make things happen. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. But having the ability to have a conversation with you tonight and kind of give you a little bit of peek, I guess, into my life and why I am who I am and the way I am, I appreciate it. I mean, I consider this a blessing that I'm able to do this on such a large scale. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful that you've taken the time to hang out. And whether you love me, you hate me, or anything else, maybe you know a little more about me than you did before, right? Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
You tell me whatever else you got there, my friend. We'll sort it out from there.
Murray Beth Johnson, my old friend Powell. I've got a local question for you. Who is Powell Browning? Okay, tell me, Junior and Gus Dale Robbins.
Junior Robbins, Gus Dale Robbins, and Gus's daughter Shelly. Love her to death. Great lady. Yeah. Junior and Gus Dale, knew them. Actually, they ended up. Johnny Blanton that I was talking about earlier, his son Mark ended up, I think, with the Chevelle that Gus had. You remember that kind of? And you may not. It was brown. Had 3 or 4 different colors, like brown and beige or whatever. It was a drag car. Mark ended up with that, and but yeah, Junior and Gus are characters. I worked at Shaker's nightclub. Way back in the Wayback Machine, one of the times I was back here going to school, I was too old to work inside, so I checked IDs outside. And then once came back the second time, I don't look like a bouncer. I was pretty rapid in my day. I was a bouncer inside the second time around. I think I made $30 a week. That's what I lived on. Domino's Pizza was in Cumberland, and I could buy 1 pizza on Sunday, and I ate a piece I'd eat 2 pieces on Sunday, and then it was 8 pieces and 7 days a week, and I'd eat a piece every single day till I was able to get back to buy another one on Sunday and get 2 pieces. So, but yeah, those cats were, we'll call them rapid cats.
Big.
Wide open. They were wide open. There wasn't nothing subtle about either one of them. Of course, Gus was a little more subtle than Junior, but man, oh man, I will say this: if they were for you 100%. And you didn't want to know if they weren't for you. Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put that.
Yeah, Pops had a run hit with them. But okay, tell us about Shakers.
That was interesting.
That's a little before
That's
my time.
That's interesting time.
That's
my
when
friend.
probably you and Pops was both up there. around the
Probably
same
were
time.
at some time or another. Yeah, that was an interesting time. I mean, that's when.
Where was it actually at in Cumberland? Around Big Lots?
Up a little bit. If you know where if you know where Food City or the post office is, it
Yeah.
was directly behind the post office and kind of directly across from Food City or Advanced
Okay,
Auto Parts,
gotcha.
Caddy
Yeah,
Corner
that's
back in there.
kinda-
Well, my buddy's got his tire store there now, so Black Bear Tires right there in that building.
Okay,
now.
gotcha.
Yep, right there.
Gotcha.
That's
So-
that's where it was, and.
That was the place.
That
to
was the
be in
happening
80s.
place. That was it. After Gary's Lounge, I think they had closed down, and everybody kind of went up to Shakers, and I mean they had dress codes, and they had this, and they had that. And I remember times there was over 300 people in that building. I hope the fire marshal ain't paying any attention, but
Don't
there
worry,
was
James Bill.
yeah, before your time, you're not liable. But 300 plus people in that building at times, New Year's Eves, and Valentine's Days, and things like that. It was an interesting experience. You get in the middle of somebody trying to bust a beer bottle over somebody's head, or somebody's saying hi to somebody's wife or girlfriend didn't know that was a girlfriend, and was that "Give Me 3 Steps, Mister," the old Leonard Skinner song? I saw a whole lot of "Give Me 3 Steps, Mister," and I tried to give them enough space to get gone several times. So that's another lesson in life, right? I mean, you learn how to deal with conflict. So. Yeah. Shout out Daniel Widener and the Widener family and all that. I was able to eat because of them taking a chance on me working there a little bit. So everything happens for a reason, just how it's supposed to, just the way it's supposed to, and just when it's supposed to. And some of those days of my life were probably about as fun as anything on the planet. I know you're a big fan of hip hop. That's kind of when Snoop Dogg and some of those cats were NWA and all that was going on. So some of the dance music was some of that. That's when I kind of got a little bit of love for that too. At that time, it's playing all the time right in my head. So
God, me too. I've usually got Isley Brothers or something playing at all times.
I can probably. I'll tell you this: if the contest for Judge Executive was Rick James lyrics, I'm the clear winner. I got that down pat. I grew up in Lynch. I knew every Rick James song that's ever been made, brother.
I'm
Parliament,
sure.
Funkadelic, all of them. But yeah, it's been an interesting life. I've done a lot of interesting things, and I've been a lot of places. I mean, that's and I'm grateful.
I can
for all
answer that question, Mary Beth. I seen 27 businesses out of 30 in Cumberland the other day. Yeah, Paul will definitely, if he won, he would definitely help with that. I seen what I done downtown Cumberland, and I'm not trying not to cuss. I was fucking shocked. Like,
We've
I
done
was
some
shocked.
things.
Raven Rock,
and
the
the
clothing store 606 Imperium was that
Yeah, Emporium. It's nice setup. And here's the thing: in a lot of those cases, you want to know how I can help directly. There's been a lot of people that have come to me up there and said, "Hey, I want to start a business." Well, I start asking them questions right off the bat. So what are you going to do? Well, let's just take it for instance. I'm going to sell hamburgers. Okay, well, how much is a hamburger? And they'll say, "Well, I'm going to sell it for $6." I say, "Okay, well, how much does it cost?" Well, I'm going to sell it for $6. I'm like, you need to know how much that hamburger costs before you know what you can sell it for. And there's certain rules in small business, especially in food. Buy for one, sell for three, because you got to put the food back, you got to cover your lights, electricity, and your labor, and you got to hopefully try to make a profit in there somewhere, right? So you can feed your family as well. So there's been a lot of people that the timing wasn't right for them to start a business. How did we have 26 businesses and we still have 23 of them in existence? It's because we were able to really get down the nitty gritty, do some coaching, and try to figure out the best path forward. Somebody just to start a business and lose $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of their hard-earned money to have to go back to a job, that's not the idea of starting a business. But working with Kentucky Highlands Development Corporation, some other people, I've got a lot of contacts in that world, the small business world, small business development, one Harlan County. There's a lot of avenues. Jeff Marietta, current director of one Harlan County. There's a lot of areas that you can touch on to help with that. Now, a lot of it, they'll teach you how to do your books. They'll teach you how to do these certain things. And if you're serious about, if you're in business and you're kind of struggling, we can help with that. If you need cash infusion, whatever it is, or if you just need some thought processes on how to do this or how to do that, that's something I enjoy doing. I really enjoy that. I've been a small business owner myself. Started a few businesses, and myself and Darla Jackson. Shout out Darla. And we've handed them off to people. Once we kind of got them off the ground, handed them off to people. They're still in business, still doing things, growing, buying buildings of their own, moving. That's the idea, is to make everything. But high tide raises all ships. That's what you want to do. I want everybody to make it. Everybody to make it. Every single person who wants to do something, make it, right? I mean, that's the idea. And somebody may be gifted in baking or cooking. Well, but they don't know how to do bookwork, or they don't know how to deal with their taxes or employees. Let's figure that out. Somebody may know how, they may be a fashionista and know everything about clothing, but not know about where to order from or how to get that initial investment into their business. Let's sort that out. We can sort those things out. Small businesses is what built this country. My son works for Toyota, and I'm grateful that he has that opportunity. Toyota is a big corporation, but every single part that goes in a Camry in Georgetown, built somewhere else, some small place. There's a place in Middlesboro right now that makes a very small part. My uncle in Cincinnati, his machine shop, made the brake caliper screws for every Camry back in 1987 and 88. So I've seen it done. It can be done. We don't have to, it's not pie in the sky. It actually happens. We can do some things like that. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how we grow ourselves. We grab our own bootstraps and pull them up ourselves, right? I mean, that's how we do it. And absolutely, I'm 100% here to help with that. That's part of. We'll a lot of that'll fall into. Some of it'll fall into part 2, some of it into part 3. But yeah, there's funds out there. I don't. Again, I'm not throwing rocks. I'm part of the current administration, right? I mean, I am a magistrate. I've been for 7 years, going into 8. There's some things I would change. By and large, a lot of the things you do is just part of the function of being county government, balancing your books, not blowing money, so I'm not throwing rocks at Dan Mosley or anybody else out there. There's differences. There's differences between me and you. You'll like a certain food I won't like. I'll like a certain food you won't like. Doesn't make us bad people. Doesn't mean I don't like you because you don't like chicken legs, or I do, or whatever the situation is. We just different thought processes, and that's where we're at.
He has his own brand of coffee and his own books. Drop your links. You told me something about grant writers in Cumberland the other day. Do you want to get into that or save that?
Some of that'll be saved, but there are ways to maneuver some money around from federal government sources, abandoned mine lands, different things like that. That'll be a good conversation probably for part 2 of the Backroads of Appalachia and how some of that came together.
Part 2 may be anywhere. We may be in Cumberland.
We may be in Cumberland. We may very well be. We may be right here. It'll probably be late at night because again we're hustling all day, and then we find some time to have a conversation. But yeah, if there's going to be some questions on there, I'm certain we missed because I talked through more than I was looking, and I never saw food you wouldn't eat. That may be true. There's not many that I've passed on either, so I understand that as well. I've been hungry more than I've been full at times in my life, so I don't throw much out. We'll eat it. But yeah, again, I appreciate the opportunity. And what else you got? You might have something else. I don't want to cut you off, brother.
Oh yeah, water systems. Okay, I can say this: B-Mud is being sold. I was there. I broke the news. It's in the process of being sold. I don't know if that affects Cumberland, but water systems in the Tri-Cities is probably a question for the next time around.
It is. We've worked on some of that, and we'll be putting some of that together as we go forward, regardless. I mean, the thing is, obviously, I'm not running for magistrate. I'm running for county judge executive. If it's the will of the people and the good Lord above that I am that, fine, we can work on it from that situation. If not, I won't be the magistrate, I won't be the county judge executive, I'll just be a citizen, and that's okay too. I was involved as a citizen before I was an elected official. I'll be involved as a citizen afterwards. Trail town meeting, I mean, we can get into a lot of that, the part 2s and part 3s of things I've been involved in prior to being elected and after being elected and during being elected, and all that stuff. It's this isn't just trying to impress you. It's really just trying to lay out that, I want every candidate to come on here. I want them all to plead their case. I want them to tell you why you should vote for them. I'm going to tell you, I think you should vote for me. I do. I think that's the case. And you may disagree with me. Hopefully after some of these conversations that we have here and you're able to hear my side of the story, maybe that changes your mind. Maybe you look at it a different way. I may lose a vote. I may gain a vote. I don't know. But you're going to get Paul. You're going to get the real Paul Brown, and you're going to get me. It's unfiltered. Here we are. It's not recorded, and we cut it up and took this part out, and we're right here live. I mean,
Mary Beth Colby messaged to me. I don't want to put anything else out. I just seen he just said, "Hey Brad, I'm trying to get a hold of you. I would not put no more of that conversation out. I won't even let Powell read it. That's between me and Colby.
Yeah, that's not mine.
He
I just saw it popped up, and he said,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm Colby," and I looked away.
So there's Colby finally confirmed. I'll be speaking with Colby. Me and Robert Crider's cool. Hey, we had a good conversation today.
I had a conversation with Mr. Crider after the number draw, the ballot draw the other day. I had a conversation with him for about 15, 20 minutes outside the
He's
outside
pretty
the
cut up
courthouse.
fella, ain't
Yeah,
he? He looks pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm probably, obviously I've had conversations with Colby. I've had conversations now with Robert Crider. I've not had a lot with Mitch. But again, I'm not mad at anybody. Chris Couch, I worked with Chris Couch up there at Liggett when initially I was on what I called the litter crew, a beautification crew. He worked in the safety department up there. Eventually I went over to Wise, Virginia, working out of that office instead of the one at Liggett. And I know he works with EMS. I know a lot of guys that work on EMS with him. Got no issues with Chris Couch. I mean, I don't have to. It's not my job, and never will you hear me run somebody down. I'm going to present the best Paul Browning to you. I hope every other candidate presents the best version of themselves to you. And then I hope at the end of all that, you can look at all of it, put it on the scale, figure it out. There may be something another candidate says to you that's absolutely going to ring you bell, and you're going to vote for them come hell or high water, and that's great. Perfect. I hope there's something I say to you tonight that sparks a little interest,
Look
and
at
you want
that.
to know more.
You just got Gibbons and them. Apology accepted. They want to work with me and you on this solution.
Yeah, and
There you
absolutely.
go.
I mean, and
There
I
you
do.
go.
I apologize. I'll apologize to you again.
That warms my
I never
heart.
wanted it to get that. We had conversations, and then we just didn't. And that's
That warms my heart.
I'll take that on me, right?
Yeah.
It's on me. It's on me.
Okay,
I apologize
so
again.
I told Pyle we was gonna wrap it up here just shortly, but there was one more question, and then I got to. Is there any way we can bring the current factories back to Harlan? I'm just gonna say this. We'll leave that for part 2, but I think
two and three.
Yeah, I think personally, if you come out of Everett's or whatever, coming from Virginia, Holmes's Mill, I don't see why off the side of the road right there, all the way down through there's some trees couldn't be cut and factories couldn't be put there, but that's for another time.
Yeah, there's a lot and some of it is infrastructure, and I don't want to give you excuses. I want to look for solutions. There's plenty. We all kind of know the reasons, the problems, the issues that are out there. I'm solution focused. Let's take it for instance.
Something Ryan Big Bird.
So there's an issue with scraping Red Eye Road. What did he say? Here's a solution. Let's go across the railroad tracks, right? You come with me to a solution. Amen. Praise the Lord. Thank you so much. I try to tell people that all the time. If you've got an issue, if you've got a problem, if you've got something going on, you can tell me about the problem. You can tell me about the issue. That's fine. I may already know what it is. I may or may not. But if you come to me with an issue or a problem and you say, here's the solution to that issue or problem, oh, brother, we've jumped light years at that point. We are light years ahead of where we need to be. If you talk about the problem, you become problem focused. If you talk about the solution, you become solution focused. I want everybody to talk about the solution, become solution focused. If the toilet seat won't stay up at your house, and you say, my toilet seat won't stay up, Paul, I'm like, okay, well, that's the problem. If you keep talking about it, you just keep talking about the problem. So if I say, well, what's your solution? You say, well, I'm going to take a helium balloon and tie it to the toilet seat, and it's going to keep it up. Great. There's the solution. Might not be the most practical, but it's a solution. But now you're solution focused on how to solve that problem. And that's all I've ever asked anybody. Bring me any problem you want. Try to think about the solution on your way to come talking about it, right? I mean, amen. Adam Gibbons, he had a solution. That's a great solution. I hope we can sort that out. That solves 2 problems immediately. Boom, done. You come with a solution, man, we can just move light years ahead. Move light years ahead. And that's how every situation should be looked at, whether it's factories, whether it's things for kids, whatever the situation is, we need to look at what's the solution to that, right?
Hopefully we can work on that for you, Justin Early. I would love to see you come back to Harlan.
Oh, absolutely. Number one, like I said, our number one export's been humans.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not been
me that last
coal.
week.
I mean, I want anybody that wants to be here, I want you to be able to feed your family right here. I want my kids to be able to feed their family and themselves right here. Do I have a personal stake in it? Yeah, absolutely. I want my kids to be here, my grandkids to be here, the same you want your kids or yourself or your grandkids to be here. That's some of the goal. I mean, God love everybody that's out there working your asses off for $9, $8, $50 an hour. how many people have to make $8.50 an hour to even keep a light bill on or pay? I understand that. Believe me, I understand that more than you know.
The struggle is real.
Wage inequality here. We have more workers than we have jobs available. There's things like that. That's some part 2, part 3 stuff. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Know that I understand that. Know that that's what I've been working on the whole time up there. We're trying to sort that out. That is near and dear to my heart. Well, hell, there's a lot of things near and dear to my heart, and it includes this county. I mean, I'll tell you this. When we left for Cincinnati circa 1988, I had a feeling that we had been run out of town. I had a feeling we'd been run out of town. It wasn't necessarily by choice. I mean, we were going to stay here and starve to death. I felt like we'd been run out of town. So from 1988 till now, I've tried to sort out that feeling of being run out of town. And then what can we do so no one else ever feels like they have to leave Harlan County in order to survive or in order to better themselves. And I get it. And again, no magic wands, no rabbits in a hat. We're not going to fix this in a day. If you vote for me and I go in day one, it doesn't magically get fixed. Will I dedicate every single minute that I'm in office to fixing that? 1,000,000% I will. You have absolutely, hand on a Bible, middle of Main Street in a thunderstorm. That's my purpose. That's my purpose for wanting this position, is to make this better. This whole place, our home, our county, our region better. We're going to have to work with our partners in Letcher and in Bell and in Lee County, Virginia. We're going to have to come together, all of us. It's not, I mean, the old days of people from Everett don't like people from Cumberland and people from Orleans don't like people from, we've got to get over that. We've got to work together. We got to work together. I mean, we do it on fiscal court every day. We work out what's best. I mean, if it's a sewer project that's in Wallens and that's what's best, that's what we work on. That's where we focus. If it's a situation in Everett's in District 2 that we've got, that's where we focus. We work really well together right now. And that's how you have to look at it. You can't draw, even though there's district lines and cities and school, you can't look at that. You have to look at the county as a whole and the region as a whole, and even the state and more beyond that. It's going to take every single person to work on this and to help. I'd love to tell you I can come in and I dream a genie, blink my head, and everything's perfect. That's just not how it works. So I'm not going to. I don't have the luxury. I do not have the luxury of lying to you. I do not have the luxury of lying to you. Some candidates can say anything they want. I do not have the luxury of lying to you. I have been in fiscal court for 7 going on 8 years now. I know what the budget is. I know what the money is. I know what we can and can't do. I don't have the luxury of lying to you. I wish I could. It would be a whole lot easier if I could just tell you anything and just make believe it up. It's not the case. Is this going to be easy? Absolutely not. Am I ready to try? Absolutely so. Are we going to do everything we can? Yeah. Do I have a track record in District 3 that he saw with his own 2 eyes of how things can be improved? Absolutely. We'll take that same energy and we'll bring it up here. The same collaborations I had in the city of Cumberland, Benham, and Lynch with those mayors and council people and citizens there, we can do across this entire county. Absolutely. I know it can happen. I've seen it happen. It happened. It's not make-believe. It's not a story I wrote. It's real-life stuff that's taking place every single day up there. Come up. Eat at Luigi's. Get you a coffee at Raven Rock. Go shopping at Sweet Southern Peach. Get your hair cut there at Vibes. I can go on and on and on. Get you a t-shirt at Hill and Holler. Go over to Buffy's and see some of the cool stuff she did. It's there. It's real. So there we go.
We're going to try to make Harlan great again. I'm really trying hard to give every one of these candidates from whatever position an opportunity to come and chop it up. And when we put this on TikTok, everybody in Harlan will see it. When we put it on Facebook and short clip it up, everybody will see it, but everybody's got a chance to watch it live and see it all.
Well, we've talked a lot tonight, ain't we? Yeah. I think we were going to try to hold this to an hour, but I guess that just wasn't going to happen. Was 7:30, 8:30, 8:39? Here we are. Well, so I imagine part 2 and 3 is probably going to be just as long. So I'll tell you to get some caffeine. If you're going to tune in for part 2 and 3, get you some caffeine and be ready to listen. Right?
I love it. So I'm going to end this on 2 questions with Kyle Browning. What's your top 3 favorite movies of all time and your top 3 favorite bands?
I really, really, really enjoyed Godfather Part 1 and 2. Not because I'm trying to be good. I just really enjoyed that. There's some good cinematography in there that's amazing. Of course, I can go all the way back to 70, whatever that was, 6, 7, when the first Star Wars came out. I watched that with my grandmother and Corbin at the theater. That one's near and dear to my heart. Heat, great movie. Seven, great movie. The Usual Suspects, great. It'd be tough to just pull out 2 or 3 out of that, but there's a lot. I like an action drama type movie. I prefer that, something that looks more real life, or something that's completely sci-fi. That's almost just soulmate, like a Star Wars, things like that have a story to it. I enjoyed kind of both those ends. I'm not a big You've Got Mail, or I probably don't watch the Hallmark Channel too much. Just kind of how it is. But I almost live a Hallmark movie with Darla. So we dated at 17, came all the way back around 33 years later, and been together now for several years. So I almost live a Hallmark movie. I don't have to watch it. But yeah, I enjoy some action movies, things like that, some real life type stuff. Bands. Man, I could be everywhere on that. If I pulled up Pandora right now, it's on Van Halen radio. It's got some heavy doses of the old school Van Halen, and some of probably one of my more favorite songs, 5150 Van Halen. That's with Van Hagar. One of the lines in that song is, "I feel like a running politician, just trying to please you all the time." So that one's kind of near and dear to the heart. I love some Led Zeppelin. I think probably one of the most instrumental bands that I really enjoyed, that was kind of took me from the old school to the new school, was Guns N' Roses when they first came out. That was amazing. I learned Metallica a little after that. When I moved to Cincinnati, I really got an education in the old school, whether it was Journey, Boston, some of that stuff, some of the older school, WEBN up there, 103.9, great radio station. Learned a lot. And then, of course, growing up in Lynch, I know, again, Rick James, Parliament, Funkadelic, and then a little later on, Snoop. I mean, I'm all over the place. I like all country up to about 1988 or 89. I think Fast As You by Dwight Yoakam was where my cutoff point was. After that, they kind of got silly. They're coming back around. There's some new stuff out there that isn't bad to listen to. I had a chance to see the Creekers over here at the Chamber of Commerce Awards. Great band, good band. My son's turned me on to some newer bands. My daughter as well.
My brother's into all these local newer bands.
Yeah, I mean, but Kudzu Killers, Laid Back Country Picker. I could talk about a bunch of local bands here. Logan Turner, some of the stuff he's done with his brother, some amazing work. So we've got Timbo Rouse. I mean, some of the folks here, Trey. I mean, I can go on and on and on. About a bunch of local bands that we've had.
What's your question, Danny Haley? Hell, you get too impatient, bro. Sorry, Danny Haley. What is your question?
War Pigs. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's so much. Music is a big part of my life. That was someplace that I could kind of check out of reality for a little bit. I would turn that Stone Temple Pilots. I can't leave Stone Temple Pilots out. I played Stone Temple Pilots at the maximum volume on some stuff. There was a little bit of grunge in there. I mean, I enjoy good music.
Me too.
Yeah, if it's good music, I can listen to it all day. Most of my songs get interrupted with phone calls, and that's okay too. So.
The Neighborhood Watch will be something for the next one, Danny Haley.
Yeah, it will be.
That'll be something in the next.
And that's something
one.
that
Danny's had a lot of problems with
yeah.
young kids picking on him, and I would like.
I got you. Well, that needs to get solved. I mean, I'm the poster child for getting picked on as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you that, and there's no place for that. That can really turn your head the wrong way. But that's, Sheriff Chris Brewer, I know that's some interest that he has. Most of the things that I've seen some of the questions that come up there tonight, some of the things, even though we've not addressed all of them, most of the things that I've seen come up there take one or two things to solve: time or money. A gentleman tells me, Jeff Sim up there, shout out Jeff Sim, Heritage Ministries, he said, with enough time and money, you can build the Taj Mahal, right? You can solve any problem. You can build Taj Mahal, enough time and money. So the time is there. We've got time to a degree, although I think the next 4 years are pretty critical with the direction of this county. And the money is out there. We have to be able to discern how to get to it. We were able to get a grant up there. We talked about up there. There's other ways other than just the ways we've been traveling to maneuver through some of these grant processes and some of the things. Again, I'm not really throwing rocks at anybody. Different strokes for different folks, right? But we've been successful. I've seen how it works. I know how to put some of those things together, and that's just that's not saying me great, them bad. These are just the reality of things. I can't swim. Among the judge executive candidates, if there's a swimming contest, I'm last. I'm going to be dead. I can't swim. They can probably all outswim me. I can probably out-talk all them. So there you go. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, right? But communication and conversation is how I've solved a whole lot of issues in my personal life, in my life as magistrate, and going forward. That's how you do it, right?
This is a great place to communicate.
Well, even the conversation we were just having there with Mr. Gibbons, right? I mean, communication hopefully has solved that issue. Hopefully, a communication with CSX will completely solve that issue.
Mr. Gibbons was very angry on my show, and when I talked to him, and it warmed my heart when I seen an apology. Everything can be cool and squashed. It really did. It warmed my soul, bro. I'm not joking. I got a warm.
No, he really did. He was kind of choked up a little bit, and I am too. I appreciate that. I appreciate that if you give me an opportunity to try to make things right, that's what I want to do. I want to. If we've had an issue, if we've had a break, and we're able to put something back together, that's thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate you just not saying, right. I appreciate you accepting an apology because I owed you one. There's no doubt I owe you an apology. And I appreciate you accepting that apology, and we can move forward from there. Right? And that's how life should work. I can certainly be open enough and big enough to know when I've screwed up. We have not worked Red Eye Road perfectly the whole time I've been magistrate. Absolutely, positively, 1,000,000%. And I can understand where you're coming from, and so hopefully we can solve this thing take a whole nother direction, right? Great idea. Let's see if we can put that in motion. If we can, problem solved. No more issues. You got flat land going right out to 119. That's a great solution. Thanks for the solution, right? Let's see if we can hammer it out. And I mean, if somebody comes, anybody, if somebody has a beef with you, but they come up and say, hey man, I'm mad at you because you, I don't know, you left your chewing gum under the table. Just make up something crazy, right? You say, well, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know I was upsetting you. Well, cool. And we can go forward, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to stay stuck somewhere. What else you got? So you got my bands, movies. That's good. Hopefully that's a little insight into my world.
That's for me.
Favorite color is probably orange, and not because of Tennessee. I've heard that. I am not a Tennessee fan. If you're a Tennessee fan, God love you. Orange is not for Tennessee. It's to see me. It's like Tennessee, but totally different. There was a lot of thought process that went into that color on that sign, and it's mostly to get your attention. So, but I wear orange all the time. I probably have more orange than most Tennessee fans to not be. I don't get into sports. Never really played a lot of sports. Played a little bit of football and some softball and different things and some men's group softball things, but not necessarily my bag. If I don't know who's playing right now, don't know who's playing tomorrow night, don't know who played last night, and that's okay. I focus on different things. It's just the way I am. Yeah. So if you're looking for a sports lover, not me. Sorry. It's just the way it is.
If nobody else has any quick questions about who is Paul Browning, then we're out for the night, and we'll be back. I lied to you guys. I can't give you a definite date unless he wants to right now.
I can't. Soon as possible. How about that?
I thought about it, and then I'm like, well, we got bad weather coming this weekend.
We do.
I was supposed to go to Appalachian Mountain Wrestling Sunday in Lexington.
There you go.
I've got Robert Crider coming on.
Right,
We're going to hang out with him. Mitch promised me this weekend.
Colby may be in touch with
you
now.
I'll be getting in touch with Colby and Chris.
Right.
So
yeah,
we're going to aim for next.
We'll sort it out. Sometime next week, within the next 10 days, we'll try our best to get part 2, maybe even part 3.
Yeah.
But but I don't want to wear you out. We could talk till 6 in the morning.
Oh, I'm ready.
The
to
roosters
go
will be.
I
mean, there we'd be, right? So
this man's got 20, 30-minute drive, and
I do, and got to work tomorrow and do all those things tomorrow. It's okay.
Different.
Yeah, we may do it at a different spot. We may do it out of Raven Rock next time. Who knows? We may pull it out from there. Well, but we'll sort it out one way or the other. I'm happy being down here. If this is not an inconvenience to me, this is a way to have a conversation with you, and I appreciate that.
And it's an honor for people to somebody say, "Why did you choose Brad's channel?" Because I'm the mayor. I'm the news here.
The mayor of the streets. He's Joe Rogan of Harlan County. I mean, like, what?
Thank you.
And you know what I'm saying?
I just got chili. They named chili after Crack 40 TV chili at the beer company. Go down there and get you some. And I've been blessed, and me and my beautiful woman's been put in a great place by the Lord.
Yep.
And other people through the Lord. So I'm pretty blessed right now. And I don't know, bro, because of the weather tomorrow night. I would love to see that game, but with 3 to 6 inches of snow coming possibly, it's iffy, but I will be doing a lot of school closings and business closings on TikTok, so stay tuned to my TikTok. He's got a TikTok. Go follow it.
Working on it.
We will get this clipped up and put on his channel.
I didn't realize I was wearing a fez all night. Look at me, I was wearing a fez all night there, Brad.
He was, wasn't he?
I didn't know. I came up as a holy man. I didn't get all that far.
Yeah, I said that. Well, guys, this has been Pal Brown and Crack 40 TV.
Mayor of the streets.
All you other candidates, please get with me. Nothing but much love and respect, and holler at me, and we'll line you guys up. And we're out, guys. See y'all.